I'm gonna just hop on stream a little bit later. But we just gonna finish watching this.
Thumbnail for the not.
This is talking about the so he's talking about the shooting that happened, and this is interesting because in the lawsuit they're trying to claim that Not Like Us is connected to the shooting, even though there's possibly evidence to suggest that it's unrelated. But they want to say that Not Like Us incited violence upon Drake because of the accusations and this and that, which is ridiculous. And that's the thing is people kind of have been avoiding talking about the lawsuit. People on a certain side have been avoiding talking about the things that are being alleged in the lawsuit and how outrageous they are. So, and that's just what people want to do. Okay, this doesn't fit the narrative that I want to paint. This doesn't fit the ideas in my head that I want to believe. So I'm gonna just act like it's not there and just move on with my life. And if anybody brings it up, I'm gonna attack them. I'm gonna verbally attack them.
Video, Not Like Us video thumbnail, the one that they describe as the embassy. The only victim reported is believed to be an adult male, likely his security guard, who was rushed to its Toronto hospital.
Because they're trying to say, because of the house being in the thumbnail, it told people Drake's house has been one of the most publicized houses in. It was being built. Drake's house. His house isn't just an unknown place that people don't know. No, Drake before this, during the middle of the beef, was complaining to the because I remember this. He added the news people saying that they keep flying helicopters over his house in certain times of the day, and it's making it hard for him to sleep. So Drake's house has been on the news and been publicized for a very long time. So to just say, "Oh, Kendrick exposed where Drake stays," and now people are going there attacking him. It's just being stupid. Once again, commenting.
Paul Krawcheck of the city's police service told reporters on Tuesday that investigators had little information but were studying surveillance footage for leads. The assailant was reportedly spotted fleeing the area in a vehicle. Now, most reports that I've seen are talking about this in conjunction with Kendrick Lamar and Drake and Kendrick Lamar's ongoing rap beef, especially with that thumbnail for Not Like Us being a picture of an embassy. Drake's house.
That's how they're trying to paint the saying it's related.
Like that. We'll see how that shakes out, but my assumption is that this has more to do with the weekend. Because last week, there was a similar series of events that took place at the co-manager of the Weeknd's house.
What's up, Big Bird?
That's
a crazy name, by the way.
XO Records. According to reports, that shooting happened around 2:30 a.m., which is around the same time as the shooting at Drake's house. That one took place at 2 a.m. In both incidents, a security guard was hit. Now, why would this happen, right? Why would this take place? Why would The Weeknd and Drake? Well, they've had friction for a long time, and this year, The Weeknd has been part of the rap Avengers. We talked about this in the Smoke episode of This All Happening. But The Weeknd took shots at Drake on the Future and Metro Boomin album, We Still Don't Trust You. On the song All To Myself, The Weeknd says, when they got leaks in their operation, I thank God that I never signed my life away, and we never do the big talk. They shooters making TikToks, got us laughing in the Lambo. I promise I got your back. In return, Drake took shots at The Weeknd on push-ups. He said, claim the 6 and boys ain't even come from it. And when you boys got rich, you had to run from it. Cash going to Abel Bread out here tricking. Shit we do for bitches, he's doing for niggas. So those are the details that we have so far. My assumption is that this is about The Weeknd, not necessarily about Kendrick Lamar. Think about that. Last week, The Weeknd's manager's house gets shot. This week, Drake's gets shot. They're both from Canada. They've had
girlfriend don't meet today, but I guess
that is probably what this is. I don't have facts. We'll see how this plays out.
I guess
Drake is up against a lot now. Drake is up against a lot, and this is getting to a point where I think all of us hoped it would never get. And definitely,
but I don't know what you're saying on win-win. More time with the boys, you know. What do you mean more time?
This out.
Lots of questions tonight.
I think last thing you need to do is because some people say that's the best thing to do. I don't think it's the best thing to do, but it should be more time with yourself. More time with yourself. More time figuring out what you want from the world, what you want from life, what you want from your next partner or whatever like that. Finally get to pop out. Yeah. I'm from America. Spend more time, explore, do certain things. You know what I'm saying? But you don't want to like, what's the word? You don't want to. I don't even know what the word is. Drown how you're feeling and the process that you're going through with trying to replace it with just going out all the time, partying all the time, getting drunk, getting high, whatever it is. You don't want to do that because then you're avoiding time with yourself. You're avoiding progression. You're avoiding growth and whatever like that. Now, if that's what you want to do, then that's fine. But I don't always suggest that because it continues long-term damage. You're going to find yourself in the same situation again with another female that may do the same thing to you, or the results might be the same. So you kind of want to have a balance. Balance is very important. Find a balance between going out, but also taking that time to just ponder on what you want from life, what you want from yourself, the mistakes you may have made, or the mistakes that she may have made, and you know what I'm saying. Just taking that time. You don't want to avoid that time because then you'll never grow, you'll never progress, you'll never find a good relationship because you'll always just be like, every time there's a breakup, every time something happens, I'm gonna just go out and not just acknowledge or take accountability for anything. You don't want to do that.
Been part of the rap Avengers.
I'm sorry for the breakup, bro. I'm sorry for the breakup. It'd be hard. It'd be hard.
It's all happening. But the Weeknd took shots at Drake.
But you always look at it. Don't look at it as an L. Look at it as a lesson. You know what I'm saying? Take the things that you learn, the positive things. Take that from the relationship and move forward with that. All the negative things, guess what? It's in the past. It's over with. It's done with. Now it's time to move forward and do better. You know what I'm saying? Me, no, I have a girlfriend though. I have a girlfriend.
The Future and Metro Boomin album, We Still Don't Trust You. On the song All To Myself, The Weeknd says, when they got leaks in their operation, I thank God that I never signed my life away. And we never out here tricking. Shit we do for bitches, he's doing for niggas. So those are the details that we have so far.
Because nobody talks about that, but that's homophobic.
This is about The Weeknd, not necessarily about Kendrick Lamar.
What up, Brittany? What up, Lily?
Think about that. Last week,
Butt Vic.
Manager's house gets shot. This week, Drake's gets shot. They're both from Canada. They've had friction in the past. Drake calls them out on push-ups. It feels like that is probably what this is. I don't have facts. We'll see how this plays out. But Drake is up against a lot now. Drake is up against a lot. And this is getting to a point where I think all of us hoped it would never get.
I'm 20.
And look at this. I mean, this right here is unrelated, but when I was researching what is going on this story, I found this news clip. Check this out.
Lots of questions tonight about a security guard who was shot outside the mansion of the rapper should say.
Jesus Christ.
Oh shit, what the fuck? That was crazy.
Come on, man.
16 what? That's crazy.
Song in my reaction video Saturday night when it first dropped. And it's a big song. That's a lot of bigs, but that's how big this song is. Let's check the stats. Kendrick Lamar's
So what's happening? My bad. I skipped past something.
Mine, check. Analysts, it's all happening. I told you Not Like Us was going to be a big song in my reaction video Saturday night when it first dropped.
Is it great living in America? Not really.
That's how big this song is. Let's check the stats.
It depends. It depends on who you are, where you're from, where you come from, who your parents are, who your family are. It depends. Personally, not really. It's overrated.
Number one on Apple Music in 40 countries. Number one most.
If you live in a place, if you live in a country where you can eat, if you're alive, you don't have certain things threatening your way of living. You're able to provide comfortably. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter where you are, location-wise, geographically. You're blessed. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you're blessed. No matter, I am from South Africa. That's dope. Wherever you are on the planet, if you're just able to find happiness, live comfortably, put food on your table, you're blessed. It doesn't matter whether you're in America, Canada, South Africa, North Africa, West Africa, Europe, Asia. Like, it doesn't matter as long as you're able to provide. You know what I'm saying? Because the country's going to do aren't as important, so they get treated as such. But if you're able to live comfortably and find happiness, then that's all that you can ask for from life. You know?
Song in the world right now will debut number one on Billboard. Kendrick's fourth number one. Most streams ever in a single day for a solo rap song. Most streamed rap song ever in a single day in the USA.
Crazy.
Biggest streaming day for a rap song on Spotify in 2024. Most views in a single day for a rap song on YouTube in 2024. Second biggest streaming day of all time for a rap song on Spotify, 11.8 million. Yeezus. First rap song to receive 11 million streams outside its opening day in Spotify history. will be the first rap song to go #1 with a shortened tracking week. That's because it dropped on Saturday night. Not Like Us has also reached #1 on Toronto's iTunes chart. Drizzy doesn't even own his own backyard. Think about it.
American Zaza.
In his own backyard. Yeezus. This is also interesting. It's not about Not Like Us, but
It ain't good out there? It ain't good in South Africa?
President Biden used Euphoria in an Instagram short, in an Instagram reel rather, this week. I hope it wasn't co-signed. I'd rather this not. Now I also hear that Not Like Us will receive a visual, and that Universal plans to fully push the song, which means that rumor that UMG was trying to step in and stop this beef because it was making Drake look bad is false. TMZ Hip Hop TMZ, they actually broke the story on that. Big shout out to Trent.
And I wanted to, and that's the crazy thing. This goes into the lawsuit. Now UMG wants to further push the song, but initially everything that came initially was organic. All the streams, all the things was organic. Now it's just like, all right, let's push the button on this. The button's always there. There's no doubt that there's a button, but the button's always there to push it further, market it, sell it around, ship it for licensing and this and that, bring it to radio and all that. Yeah, that's always an option. But a song can go organically, especially nowadays. The record labels aren't proactive; they're reactive. They will find something that's already doing its own thing organically and then push money behind it. It's rarely the other way around nowadays. At one point it was, but nowadays, unless you're already an established artist that has that relationship to where we're going to push whatever you put out because you are that artist, i.e. a Drake or maybe a Taylor Swift. But for most artists, it is you got to get hot first. And then once you get hot, then we're going to help you out. Understand what I'm saying?
So TMZ, there was no such
because of streaming now. So it's like, okay, if you game the algorithm, if you do this and that through streaming, if you get a nice little traction on TikTok, nice little traction on Instagram, organically on your own, then we're going to help you push it a little further. Then we're going to step in. Instead of us doing all the work, you're going to do all the work, and then we're basically just going to capitalize on it and say that we're the reason why you're successful. It's bullshit.
UMG, Drake, and Kendrick, and that this entire
which is the music industry in a nutshell. This is bullshit.
Narrative, which is starting to go.
I don't want to say music industry, record industry. It's two different things.
It's completely made up and not true. Not true. So expect this song to get a full.
What is your view on the music industry? I basically just said it. The music. So the difference between the music. So the music industry is the industry of music, which will go into producers, rappers, producers, rappers, engineers, all those things like that. The record industry is something else that goes into promotion and selling the music and all these things like that. My thought on the record industry is it's very manipulative. It's a lot of, you know what I'm saying, a lot of whatever. That's why it's called record labels and not music labels. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes people say music labels, but most of the time it's record labels because they specialize in the record industry. They specialize in pushing music, pushing image, pushing this and pushing that. You know what I'm saying? The music industry, it is really very predicated on the record industry. If a certain sound is a sound that sells, especially nowadays, a lot of the music industry will navigate towards following that sound, following that trend, and then you start getting a lot of watered down versions, a lot of copycats, a lot of people making the same sound in music. So that is a downplay, but it's all predicated on people just want to sell records, people just want to get high streams, people just want to do this, people just want to do that. You understand what I'm saying? So they're not the same thing, but they go hand in hand. The music industry gets affected by whatever the record industry is doing, or what the record industry wants. So if the record industry wants to push this certain sound, then the music industry will change or alternate to kind of fit that sound. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
It's going to be crazy. But thinking about the virality of this song and thinking about this song on radio, Not Like Us includes more entendres than I even really appreciated at the time. Like if you take that PDF file line, certified lover boy, certified PDF file, well, it's pronounced pedophile. Right, OVO's logo is an owl, which is a bird, which is foul. So pedophile. I guess that's how you would word it down on the radio. Also, if you think about that A minor bar,
what about
minor? That was kind of dope because on a piano keys, the A minor keys are all white. They're the ones without black keys on them. So that's actually pretty deep. Freaky ass nigga, he's a 69 guy. Easy flip. freaky ass neighbor, or any other word that they substitute for nigga when they put songs on the radio. The level of skill and nuance on Kendrick's part is impressive, which is why I partly disagree with Questlove's sentiment on this battle, Drake versus K-Dot. Questlove went viral this week, and he was hypercritical on what this battle's devolved into. He said, nobody won the war. This wasn't about skill. This was wrestling match level mudslinging and takedown by any means necessary. Women and children and actual facts be damned. Same audience wanting blood will put up RIP posts like they weren't part of the problem. Hip hop is truly dead.
Okay, so my issue with that take. Let me see what he's saying. Okay, so nobody won the war. I disagree with that. This wasn't about skill. I disagree with that. This was a wrestling match, level mudslinging and takedown by any means necessary. It wasn't always that. That's a very like what's the word? Tunnel vision, one track mindset. If you're only looking at a few songs, then yeah, you could take it as that. But it wasn't that from the beginning. One person made it that, and that's kind of where it devolved to. I do agree with women and children and facts being damned in the comment. That is one of my biggest critiques of the battle, is that there was no real progress done from the conversations being had around this battle. Personally, that's how I feel. Where it was just like, there are real victims of domestic violence. There are real victims of there are real victims of domestic violence. There are real victims of women being put in uncomfortable situations by certain men with power, whatever like that. These are actual things that are going on in real life. So to use that as just a way to get back at somebody, but nothing actually changing, nobody being I don't want to say investigated, but just like, if whatchamacallit was beat on his wife, maybe that should be investigated. If whatchamacallit is taking advantage, that he do have weird relationship with women, but if it really is going to a certain place that should be investigated, it should be investigated. It shouldn't just be used as a shot in a rap battle. I do have a little bit of an issue with that because it's not taken seriously. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't saying you're beating on your wife, if that's true or not. He's not saying that to kind of like paint this picture, and this, it's kind of like a, you know what I'm saying? He used it as a joke. Like when he says, when you put your hands on your wife, is it because she's taller than you or whatever like that? Like when you're saying these things, it's not being taken seriously in a certain context. You understand what I'm saying? I feel like things like that should be taken seriously. So that is, I agree with that. Same audience wanting blood soon put up RIP posts like they weren't a part of the problem. I agree with that, but not in the context of what this is being put in, because there's nobody's going to die from this. I promise you, nobody's dying. Nobody's going to die. Nobody's that stupid. Hopefully, nobody's dying from this. If this was Dirk and Youngboy, if this was Von and Quando Rondo, or artists of that ilk, then yeah, maybe I can understand this sentiment. But I don't think with Kendrick and Drake, you got to worry about, oh, if somebody dies, then it's going to be your fault, because nobody's going to die. You're talking about a pop star rapper and a rapper that appeals to the pop audience, if that kind of makes sense. You know what I'm saying? There's too much on the line for any of them to be trying to put a hit out on the other person or this and that happening, which is why I don't think Not Like Us incited the break-in on Drake's house and all stuff like that. I think that's just a circumstantial situation. You understand what I'm saying?
Children and actual facts be damned. Same audience wanting blood will put up RIP posts like they weren't part of the problem. Hip hop is truly dead. Facts be damned. Hip hop is truly dead. When did rap beefs have to have facts all the time?
Right.
But
Yeah.
Either way, analysts, we have now reached the very predictable reactionary phase of rap battles, of rap beefs.
Because when facts, if you go looking for facts, and that's why I say it just depends on how it's painted, how it's delivered to you. The Drake daughter thing, yeah, that be 100% true. When do we know for a fact that Tupac slept with Biggie's wife? I don't think we do. But people don't care. Hit him up will still hit him up. So looking for 100% factual things in every little rap beef. What did Eminem say to Benzino? You want to dangle me off a balcony, but your back will probably like, oh, nobody wants to hit a grandfather rap and stuff like that. Yeah, Benzino was older than the average rapper, but Benzino was not an old man back. Like, you know what I'm saying? everything is hyperbolic. Everything is going to be exaggerated for the entertainment of the audience that is listening to the music. That's rap in general. That's music in general. Expecting 100% facts all the time. You're just asking for outrageous things for no apparent reason. Have a good day, but I'm going to have to go. I have school, and God bless you. God bless you, too. I appreciate you.
At some point, someone always steps in and say, "Oh, it's gone too far. People are going to die." And I definitely understand where it's coming from when it comes to this battle. There was a shooting at Drake's house this week.
Oh my God, somebody's going to die.
Insane.
And has anybody died? I don't think nobody died yet. It's been a year. I don't think anybody died.
So I understand where he's coming from. I'm not disagreeing here. But
well, somebody did die. Somebody did die. Just in general, overall, in the existence of the world, somebody dies all the time. But due to the battle, nobody died.
Just like we always get to the point where someone makes the point that, well, the big winners are the executives and the suits in the offices because they're making money on both sides.
That's true.
We're at that point here too. I'm not saying they're wrong. I tend to agree with them.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
At the same time, this is where we actually are. Where I disagree is, I don't know how you can look at Kendrick Lamar's contributions to this battle and not see a super high level of skill. I mean, look at you.
Yeah, to say there's no skill involved in what was going on, because they're trying to make it seem like the rap battle was some Jerry Springer shit. It was not. It wasn't that. And people only want to paint that because of the results. But it wasn't that. It wasn't no Jerry Springer mudslinging, oh, you a bitch, no, you a bitch, no, you a bitch, no, you. Like, it wasn't none of that. It was one person had a strategy and had an idea, and another person kept poking the bear. If you keep poking the bear, we talk about one man versus a gorilla. If one man keeps poking the gorilla, I mean, 100 men versus a gorilla. If one of those 100 men keep poking the gorilla, and the gorilla decides, okay, I'm about to rip your head off, that's just what's going to happen.
Dream. It's only number 2, and every bar contains like 3 or 4 different entendres. If I'm a lyrical rapper right now, I'm very encouraged by what I'm seeing on the charts when it comes to songs like Euphoria. Perhaps that means there's going to be more investment for rappers with lyrical skills.
Exactly.
Meet the Grants.
And then I think that has a lot to do with, sadly, it's a good and a bad thing. What happened last year with the battle, I feel did have a slight contribution to why Doechii is on the rise that she's on. Shout out to Doechii, by the way, is because it opened the door to and inspire more people to be like, okay, people are looking for lyrics now. People are looking for art now. This is the time to push our more artistic lyrical artists. And then that's how you get a Doechii. Westside Gunn, I think, dropped the best project this year so far. I don't think it was charting or whatever like that, but you're getting a little bit more of a push from these more artistic artists. A lot of the shake my ass and fuck your man for money women have kind of gone quiet the past year. I haven't heard nothing from Lotto. Haven't heard nothing from Ice Spice after she dropped her album. Haven't heard nothing. Sexy Red, she's popping in and out every now and then. Who was another one? Meg Thee Stallion. She popping. Like, a lot of those type of artists and women have kind of been ghosts. The only ones I've been seeing a lot of, hearing a lot from, is Glorilla and Doechii. They've been kind of holding it down for a lot of the time. All the shake your ass and this and that women, which I have no problem with that type of music, but I've just noticed they've kind of really gone ghost. You understand what I'm saying? In the attention span of people outside of Instagram when they just want to see them be pretty and shit. But it's interesting. I feel like that all connects to the shift of what people want to hear now, which people been wanting to hear. That is just, a lot of people care too much about what's cool, what's going to get the attention, what everybody's talking about. So they will avoid doing things that they want to do if it's not the cool thing to do. And I hate that. I don't give a fuck. I don't care what other people want you to do or what people, what's cool to do and what's not cool to do, because I don't live for other people. I don't live for other people. I don't wake up every morning wondering what other people are doing, what they care about, what's cool to them. I don't give a fuck about that shit. That if you care about that, then hats off to you, but that sounds like a very miserable life to live. You understand what I'm saying?
Harder, even without that verse, Meet the Grams is masterful linear storytelling told in letter form. Not Like Us is a smash hit with a history lesson. A smash hit with a history lesson. And if you factor in Like That, Kendrick bookended this battle with #1 hits, beating Drake at his own game. The analysis of Drake is compelling even if Drake isn't a real person. Again, isn't a real person, which is why I dubbed this a Shakespearean shakedown. Now, this comment disagreed with Questlove. I think it's interesting. A lot of
old heads are trying to pick and choose when they want to support beef because they now have corporate affiliations and hip hop has grown globally, but no one had this stance on women and children being home when Faith Evans and D Bones was thrown into rap beef in the 90s.
of old
Hey.
kids are trying to have corporate affiliations and hip globally, but no one had this.
This reminds me a little bit of like that's Queen Latifah. I didn't know Queen Latifah. No, that can't be Queer Latifah. Okay, I was about to say that's not Queen Latifah. There was this time, I don't hear this much no more, but there was this time period, maybe a few years ago. I'm a wrestling fan. You understand what I'm saying? There was this time period it might have been a year or two ago, where for some reason older wrestlers, like it wasn't Ric Flair, but like wrestlers like Ric Flair or Arn Anderson, like those type of wrestlers were complaining that the women wrestlers were being too rough and too stiff, and that they should lighten up and not do certain things that they were doing. And it's just like, why? Like they wanted to go back to the slapping and hair pulling of the 2000s. I don't think they need to do that. If they are being safe and they have the trust in things amongst themselves to do certain things, then you shouldn't change the goalpost and be like, oh yeah, it's cool for the men to be doing all the rough stuff and the knees to the face and the elbows and the forearms and all stuff like that. But the girls, they need to lighten up and not do all that. And it's just kind of where, so this kind of reminds me of where it's just like, now you want to say, oh, what about the women? What about the children? But back in your day, it was not an issue. But now, because you want to pick the sides, and now it's corporatized, and like, oh, we have to be a better representation of to the corporate people, so we shouldn't be talking about these things. Like come on,
women and children being harmed when Faith Evans.
And like in the context of wrestling, oh, that's bad representation of women. Women wrestling shouldn't be that rough or whatever like that. Like, why? Because you said so? Because you feel like women should be presented in this way versus being presented in this way? Like,
were thrown into rap beef in the 1990s. Faith Evans was the subject of Tupac's Hit 'Em Up, for example. D. Barnes was a journalist who was assaulted by Dr. Dre.
Right.
Times changed.
And nobody said nothing about it.
Which is why so many people look at J. Cole as the smartest man in all of this.
I don't agree with that.
He himself off the island on stage at Dreamville Fest and apologized. My homie Sean P. and Marcus down in South Carolina, they love J. Cole. They love J. Cole so much, and they love to argue with me about J. Cole. They're both incredible fathers and successful people in life.
I don't think because people can say, oh, I understand why J. Cole stood out because he saw what was coming. I don't agree with that. I personally don't agree that he saw what was coming. J. Cole, if you go through the history of J. Cole, has always been the throw stones and hide your hands type of person. That's just been who he is. And he stood into who he was. You understand what I'm saying? And that's exactly how I looked at it. I don't look at it as like, oh, he was smart. He saw what was coming down the pipeline, so he had to be ahead of it, and that's why he dropped out the beef. No. For a long time, J. Cole has been, I'm going to shoot at you and then act like I'm cool with you, or not stand on what I said, or not act like there's a real beef, or say that I'm above it. He's been doing that the entire time. When he was throwing shots at Macklemore and Eminem on Forest Hill Drive, when he was throwing shots at Lil Pump and Smoke Perp, and then he sat down and did an interview with him, when he threw shots at the No Name Girl, throwing shots at Kendrick allegedly, throwing shots at Kanye, and then coming back and saying Kanye is my biggest influence and my favorite producer of all time, and I love Kanye West. Throwing shots, like, that's been J. Cole. I think he threw shots at Wale. That has been J. Cole for a long time. Even in one of the little interviews he had, I think it was a Lil Yachty interview, he said, when I was younger, I used to hate on, I wanted to be the elitist hip-hop head rapper, so I would shit on Soulja Boy, knowing the whole time that I was just a hater. And sometimes that's all as simple as it is. Sometimes that's all as simple as it is. Y'all are getting attention, y'all being called the best and this and that, but I'm really rapping better than y'all. I'm better than y'all. I'm the Muhammad Ali this shit. I'm this and that. But if you throw shots at me, nah, I'm above it. Nah, I've grown so much as a man, and I don't want to go back to what I was 10 years ago, this and that. Like, you wasn't just throwing shots at niggas a few months ago. Like, I won't just forget that. Everybody else can forget that, but you've been saying that shit for years. And now that people call you out, oh, well, if you really like that, then let's go. And you were just like, nah, that ain't me. Even though you still, and we got to talk about it. As an artist, I'm a rapper. I'm a producer. I know the process. You write the song. Let's talk about 7 Minute Drill real quick. You write the song. You're going to reread it so you can make sure that you remember everything that you said. So then when you perform in the studio, you have that feeling that you want to have on the song. You record the song. Boom. You re-listen to the takes, re-listen to the lines, you process everything. Let me go do that again. Boom. Let me go at it again. Boom. You finish the whole song. You get it mixed. You listen to the mix. That's fire. Boom. So now that's 3 or 4 times you've heard these words, including the fact that you thought them and wrote them down, said them, re-listen to them. Okay, now you get a master. You listen to the master. That's about 5 or 6 times that you've heard this song, heard these lyrics, and then you put it out. I'm pretty sure you're going to listen to the song once it's released and catch the vibe, check the vibe, see the comments and all stuff like that. So it's about 7, 8 times minimum that you've heard yourself say these things. And now that it gets negative reviews, you decide, I take it all back. You didn't take it back when you wrote the lyrics. You didn't take it back when you recorded the lyrics. You didn't take it back when you got the mix, when you got the master. You take it back once everyone else says it wasn't hitting like it should have. Then you take it back and say, I'm above it. I feel bad. You didn't feel bad the 7, 8 times you heard the song before. But what they say, I digress.
To the point where they're past the euphoria of seeing 2 incredible lyrical titans go head to head. They're past that point in life, much like Questlove, in my opinion. I agree. I see where they're coming from. But I don't think J. Cole is the smartest man in all this. I think J. Cole has spent so many years taking pot shots and sweet disses at Kxng and Kendrick Lamar. I think he is a part of the problem.
Just saying this.
He took shots at Kxng just like he took shots at Eminem, Iggy Azalea, Macklemore, Lil Pump, Wale, Kanye, No Name. This is what he does all the time. He doesn't deserve props, in my opinion.
Right.
He deserves the Hypocrite Award.
Don't touch them no nigga over there.
I was just saying that.
PG, like he said he was trying to do on push-ups and Family Matters. Let's say he didn't spend all his time trying to dig up music on one of the most solid and private artists of this generation. What would that have even looked like? Could he have even done that? Could he have done that on the Hard Part 6? Let's say he just avoids all the ugly stuff and just gets the MC stuff. What would that have looked like? What could he have said about Kendrick? Maybe, I don't know, maybe he points out that Kendrick has a lot of phenomenal ideas second. And he's better at stealing like an artist than anyone of this generation. And sometimes it might feel like it's too soon to do that. Good Kid, Mad City was Boys in the Hood. We all knew what was going to happen when he got in the car. We knew how that album was going to end. That's for Kendrick's point of view. Damn tells the story forwards and backwards, just like Lupe Fiasco's Tetsu Over Youth, which was only a few years old at that time.
Right.
Mr. Morales' a therapy album, a much deeper and doper versions of a lot of the themes J. Cole addressed on KOD. And J. Cole's original rap name is Therapist. Could Drake have pointed out all those things and made jokes about?
And that would have been something good.
Lamar's next album.
And that's the thing. Before the battle starts, so many things that you can pull to kind of get at Kendrick, poke at him, especially because he is painted as this exquisite, just next level, higher thinker artist of the time, of the generation, of all time, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? There's so many things that you can break down in, what he is and maybe some of the shortcomings or whatever like that. But instead, especially because if you don't think that way, if you're not really in tune like that, you're short. Well, let me see your contract. What's up with your wife? I heard that your friend was sleeping with your wife. Like, you're gonna do that weird shit. Kendrick, and I've said this for a long time. Kendrick is if you take Andre 3000 and Lil Wayne and you just push them together. Like he said, he has good ideas second. Nothing Kendrick does is new, but he makes his own version of these things. West Coast versions of these things. You understand what I'm saying? Like there's things you can poke at, but the fact, and I just don't like this, is that not really that. That's just make believe. That's just to take it to the, like, how do y'all know this? There's been pictures of Kendrick at rallies, activist rallies and stuff like that. There's people that say he is a real philanthropist around LA. So this whole "you're not really who you say you are" thing that they've been trying to paint for a long time, I just want to know where that comes from. You know what I'm saying? What have they seen or what do they know? They don't reveal it. No one reveals it. That's what pisses me off about that angle, really. You can say you're not a real activist. You are manipulating the people. You're lying to the people to make them seem like you're not. That's perfectly fine to say if you can tell me exactly where the fuck you got this information from. You can't just say shit and not elaborate on it. That would have been a perfect thing for Drake to do to this man of Kendrick, is to break down these things that Kendrick does and the things maybe he said or things that you know for a fact that paint him as you're not really for the people. You manipulate them to sell records and this and that. You could have done that, but you didn't do that. You decided to keep on poking at, oh, your wife's not really yours. Oh, you're short. Your feet small. Like, what the fuck? It's so fucking stupid. Like, that'd have been a perfect angle, especially for J. Cole, a lyricist like J. Cole. J. Cole, thing J. Cole did was want to do a breakdown of Kendrick's catalog and say, oh, this one was a classic, but this one was trash, and this one wasn't as good. They gassed this one, this and that. The worst thing you could do is do that because your catalog isn't the most highly regarded. You understand what I'm saying? Appreciate it. As a high regard. So you shouldn't have done that. That was a big mistake because people are going to turn around and be like, well, what about you? And you don't want to poke fingers and have fingers pointing back at yourself. You understand what I'm saying? But then, you come with the fake activist angle. If you're going to come with this fake activist angle, paint that picture for us to see. Paint that picture of a person that uses the oppression of certain people for record sales to make himself money, but doesn't really care about the issues. Paint that picture to us. Make us believe that that's what really is going on. Otherwise, don't bring it up just to be a line in a song, because then you're just, I don't know, it's a waste of a bar. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to waste bars in a battle. You don't want to just say something just to say it and then not elaborate on it or make us believe what you're saying is true, unless we just want to believe everything you're saying is true. You know?
Come from? Big. What happens when a little man gets tall? Make it quippy and funny and point out that Kendrick Lamar has a lot of phenomenal ideas. Second, the idea is to chip away at someone's veneer. In this case, Kendrick Lamar's veneer is his music. Since it's the only thing we really get to see about him. It's how he exposes the world to us, not on social media, not through grimy behavior that he puts online. We don't hear about Kendrick at the strip club. We hear about Kendrick winning Pulitzer.
My favorite diss in the battle? That's a good question. I was about to say something. I forgot what it was. My favorite diss.
The idea.
I don't know. I feel like not. I want to say not like us, but then that's easy. I don't know. I really don't know. That's a good question. I don't really have a favorite diss. I think they all. I think 616 is underrated. To be honest with you, I like the production. I actually rapped over the 616 beat. I think that one's underrated. Drake, I don't feel like Drake dropped that many disses. He had Push-Ups, he had Family Matters, Hard Part 6, Taylor Made. I do understand people that like Taylor Made freestyle. I do understand it because his rapping on there is pretty good. It's just the idea of the AI. I don't think he needed the AI, but I feel like as far as rapping ability and the fact that he had these rhyme schemes going in from one verse to another verse, I do think Taylor Made is lyrically a good diss track. I just feel like, there was some mistakes in it. I don't really have a favorite one. I think Euphoria, maybe Euphoria. I'm gonna say Euphoria.
Is to chip away at someone's veneer. In this case, Kendrick Lamar's veneer is his music, since it's the only thing you really get to see about him.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Minus, you talk about the activist thing. If you don't have nothing to back up the activist angle, then whatever. But if you do want to chip at it, the best thing you could do is take his lyrics and point out the hypocrisies in the lyrics he do. And that was something nobody did. You will reference it, but you don't dive deep into it. And that was one of the biggest issues that nobody did. J. Cole didn't do it. Drake didn't do it. This song you said this, but then you did. In this song you said this. There's a couple of things, Kendrick songs, that contradict some of the things he do in real life. People bring them up regularly, randomly, but I feel like the context of when they say it is always just stupid. But there are certain lyrics in his songs where he says one thing and he does the other thing. And of course, you can rebuttal and say, oh, well, Kendrick says he's not a perfect human being and he's going to make mistakes. Nobody's saying that. But if you're going to chip at Drake's armor, then the best way to chip at your armor is, hey, you're known as this high-level lyricist, this high thinker, whatever about that. But what about this? When you said this, what did you mean by this? What about this? You said this, but then you said this, but then you did this. Well, what about this lyric? What about that lyric? Like, if his main thing is his music, then go at his music. Don't go at his albums. Because that's where J. Cole fucked up at. Don't go at his albums. Because his albums is his albums. But just go into, pick some of the little things, some of the little mistakes, some of the little hypocrisies and be like, hey, bro, what about this? What happened to this? hey, you was on this type of time on this project when you said this, but what happened to this? You know what I'm saying? Like, or even some of the things that he struggles with, that he talks about in his music. Make his lyrics, put them in his face for him to see. Yeah, you said you were struggling with this. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. That's the best way to break somebody down. You know, all of them, or just Kendrick. Not a fan. I don't, because fan is a strong word. I'm not a fan of none of them, to be honest with you. I just, I like some songs from this person. I like some songs from this person. I like some songs of that person. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not a fan of none of them. That's what I'm saying. I'm not a fan of, at this point in my life, I'm not really, I won't say I'm a fan of somebody, because that entails you having to defend people at all times. And I don't have the time to be trying to defend, or my time, dedicate my life or my time and energy to defending people that I don't know. I like some of your songs. I said it in a video I put a few weeks ago. I will appreciate your contributions to music. That's all. That's as far as it's going to be. You understand what I'm saying? But what's I want to say? Yeah, there's certain lyrics and certain actions that contradict each other, and there are ways. If the only thing you have is his music, use his lyrics against him. Point out his hypocrisies in his lyrics. You understand what I'm saying? That's the best thing that you could do.
He exposes the world to us, not on social media, not through grimy behavior that he puts online. We don't hear about Kendrick at the strip club. We hear about Kendrick winning Pulitzer Prizes. You have to chip away at that if you're going to go at Kendrick Lamar, in my opinion. Chip away at that. Take away this idea that he's this solo genius sitting in his room penning these world-class original ideas and thoughts. Imagination is the fun part in all of this, which is why Drake's the absolute loser and been appropriately branded with the colonizer tag. Drake can't do third-person storytelling, for example. He's talked about that in interviews. He's owned that in interviews over the years. He's amazing at read and react, but he doesn't have imagination. He can only talk about his own life, which is why he needs to be around Wayne and Ross and 21 and Future and whoever else to understand his culture enough to make hits, which is why he's Elvis in his final form. He hijacks culture, waters it down, serves it back to us, and says, "You're welcome." That's why he's Elvis in its final form, because he gets to say nigga. It's all happening.
Guy cook with that one. The not being able to speak in third person, so the best way is for you to kind of like vicariously live through other people and to kind of like understand certain perspective that you should take, just to, you know what I'm saying, appeal to the audience you're trying to appeal to.
For the rap beef that just keeps getting weirder, if that's even possible, there's a really creepy happening that's been taking place online regarding the Drake and Kendrick Lamar rap beef. Over the weekend, a mysterious Twitter account called Ebony Prince 2K24 emerged online that's purporting to be one of the moles Kendrick mentioned and appears to be in possession of the items featured in the. I've been hearing about
that, but I never like deep dived into. At least maybe I watched this video before. I don't know. I don't remember. I've heard about the Ebony Prince thing, but I don't really know much about it.
Now, whether this is true or not has not been verified, but his reveals have the internet dubbing him the Riddler due to the.
Because I think he was the one that had the pictures of the items, right? From what I can remember, just from that name. That was the person that had the items or had the pictures of the items or something like that.
Of supposedly incriminating information that he has against Drizzy Drake. Let's take a look. The post began on Monday.
I was watching the video too. They were talking about some shit with the Hidden Hills, some shit with Vlad, and how it connects to Ebony Prince and some shit. And Drake had owned this house and they wound up selling it to Matt Stafford or some shit. And now Matt Stafford's trying to get rid of the house or got rid of the house. And I'm like shit kind of crazy.
King Kendrick Lamar is not a liar and I am not a thief. Number 2, Mr. Aubrey Graham and Mr. Livingston Allen have until noon Monday, 5/13/24 to retract your claims of theft, or my attorney, Ms. Adrienne Edward, and I will exhaust every legal option available. Now, during the height of the battle, DJ Academic said on his live stream that the items included in the thumbnails were stolen. Apparently, Ebony Prince took issue with that. Also in the video is an issue of the Brooklyn Eagle newspaper, which is another cryptic message apparently intended for Drake that caught fire once his next post went live. It's an image from a security camera taken on January 22nd, 2023 at 3:19 in the morning that includes Drake and who would be later identified as Christopher Alvarez, a disabled reporter who writes for the Brooklyn Eagle. The caption reads, "To Mr. Aubrey Graham, may this photo help jog your memory as to where you discarded those items. The issue in the photo should jog your memory. Jimmy Brooks would not have been proud of you that night." Jimmy Brooks, as many of you may know, was the wheelchair-bound character Drake played with Degrassi. On May 11th, Ebony Prince posts, "You've had many things to started on your behalf over the years. I wonder if you can remember them all. You're blocking my money with your lies, so you have forced me to get it another way. Push-ups? Really? Should have kept that to yourself. Had you not lied, I would have just waited till you died to sell my goods." This is weird, y'all. This is dark. This is dark. 2 Black American men became unemployed at this exact moment. and you made an enemy. How do we know you're not like us?
Wait. What the fuck is going on? I'm so...
Black American.
I guess he got some people fired at a hotel.
Then became unemployed at this exact moment, and you made an enemy. How do we know?
We never come back after we curse out the service providers.
No, you're not like us. We never come back after we curse out the service providers. Now, all this is speculation, of course. Again, this is weird, y'all. This is super weird. This is now a weird footnote addendum to the probably weirdest rap battle I've ever seen in my life. Definitely the weirdest. I think it's amazing, but it's a weird battle, man. So many different conversations I don't think we expected to hear about have come up watching Kendrick and Drake go head to head. But it appears that Ebony Prince was an employee of the Mark Hotel. Drake stayed there, and apparently there was some sort of altercation that left 2 employees fired. Now, in the Drake Deserves the Smoke episode of It's All Happening, we talked about an unrelated situation that happened in Vancouver at the Park Hotel, where Drake accused the casino of profiling him, and people on the scene described him as a douchebag celebrity who treats everyone rudely and with disrespect. These 2 things are completely underrated, but check out that episode. It's really great. Back to the post. Okay, so the cryptic post continued on May 12th. Here's what he says. To be honest, I thought you were going to at least say you were mistaken by now, but okay. I only wanted to go with the story most know about because, well, you know. Does the rabbit hole go deeper? I've only unzipped the small part of my knapsack. And now for the NYPD verifiable portion of the story. NYPD officer Viola received a CCRB complaint and hearing you from said protesters. Did you see Larry there? Who's Larry? I don't know. I stood next to you in the rain to keep the Paps and fanatics away. I became essential during your stays, having to cancel vacations and all to ensure things like this didn't happen. Now, the posts get deeper on May 13th, on Monday, May 13th. This is the day of the deadline, so here's what he says. Dear Aubrey, did you really think this was all about a shirt and some scripts? This was about diamonds. There's also another video, then post a screenshot of the diamonds, and later a video on a Panasonic laptop straight out the Bush administration with Kendrick's Not Like Us playing at the extortion part of the song. Now, one thing's for sure, the conspiracy theories have been running deep. They've been running to QAnon levels or Kxng levels as people have been talking about it on the internet. TikTokers have been putting together videos speculating that Drake assaulted Christopher Alvarez. There's no proof of that at all that I have seen, so everyone should reserve judgment around this. This is admittedly weird, but it's not immediately factual. Right. Admittedly, I call Drake Elvis in his final form, but at no point have I ever called him a predator, nor do I believe him to be a predator. I have not seen evidence of anything like that. Straight up, everyone should reserve judgment on whatever this means. But here's the newsworthy part. Christopher Alvarez released an article discussing his experience being caught in the middle of what is officially the oddest rap battle in history. In the article, Alvarez confirms he was with Drake on the night of January 22nd, 2023. He says, after his New York City concert with 21 Savage, I was called to meet Drizzy at the Mark Hotel, and we had a blast listening to new beats. I am not in a position to talk about his character outside of our meetings, but I can say I was not violated in any way. Now, this is a pretty substantial article that has 2 bylines. The first one is written by another journalist for the Brooklyn Eagle, who sort of outlines the macro of what's been going on and how Christopher got involved into this conversation. And the second part is a testimony from Christopher Alvarez, where he talks about his experiences being a disabled journalist, his journey. It's really inspiring. But it's the last 2 paragraphs that jut out like the Freedom Tower, in my opinion. I'm going to read them in full, so bear with me. Lastly, I've been getting a lot of spam phone calls, texts, emails, and social media messages saying that I am the snitch in this beef, that I accepted hush money from Drake, and that I was somehow in on the plan because I follow underage high school girls. First, I don't know anything about Drake and Lamar's beef because to me, life is too short to hate and I don't follow it. Second, I'm a hardworking journalist who holds elected officials and private entities accountable. I don't have rappers on speed dial to be the mole or the snitch. Then there's an editor's note at the bottom. It reads,
he ain't just gonna go past the underage girls on.
About Drake and Lamar's beef.
Somehow in on the plan because I follow underage high school girls. Wait, huh? I accepted hush money from Drake. I'm confused. I'm so confused.
Because to me, life is
I think I get what he's trying to say.
I don't follow it. Second, I'm a hardworking journalist who holds elected officials and private entities accountable. I don't have rappers on speed dial to be the mole or the snitch. Then there's an editor's note at the bottom. It reads, going forward, in light of recent hate speech incidents against Christopher and for his safety, They Want CA's publicity team has advised him to unfollow all minors. Please don't take this personally. We are just trying to protect him and his
Why was he following minors in the first place?
And keep delivering the impact journalism that really matters to him and his readers. Now, the reason those two paragraphs jut out to me like the Freedom Tower isn't because he says he's going to unfollow minors, okay? Christopher Alvarez, by all accounts, is an inspirational success story in life and in his profession, and it makes sense that he might have young people who look up to him, following his account, and he follows them back for support. Sometimes the simplest thing is the truest thing, okay? To hang out at the Mark Hotel, but then dismisses the allegations by saying he's a hardworking journalist who doesn't have rappers on speed dial and he doesn't know anything about the rap beef that's captured the zeitgeist, leading to the #1 song in the world. Okay, sometimes when there's too much information, we all just fall into our silos. So it's not weird that he's like, yeah, I was invited to hang out with Drake. No, I don't know anything about his rap. When there's too much information, it's really easy to check out. And I think we've all gotten way too much information about Kendrick and Drake in their head-to-head battle over the past couple of weeks. It's not that either. Here's what sticks out to me most about those last two paragraphs. He denies being the snitch. He denies being the mole. He agrees to unfollow minors, but he never denies the hush money. Never denies the hush money. Look, this is a big story. He is now in the middle of arguably the biggest rap beef in hip-hop history. Okay, for the Brooklyn Eagle, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a top 10 story in the digital history of that publication. There's 2 bylines on this article. There's a managing editor. There's at least 3 people. At least 3 people looked at this before it went live. And they make sure to cover all the bases. They make sure to deny being the snitch, deny being the mole, confirm that he follows minors, confirms that he's going to unfollow them, mentions hush money, but never denies taking it. Maybe it's just an oversight.
That's crazy.
It's all happening.
Yeah, I never heard about. I don't remember hearing about none of that stuff. That's crazy.
Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening.
All right, so check this out. David Faustino tells a really cool story about the iconic Eazy-E. Back in the early 1990s, Ice Cube famously split from NWA and went solo in bombastic fashion. He was officially in public beefing with Eazy-E, Dr. DJ Yella, MC Ren et al., and delivered one of the most storied diss tracks of all time, No Vaseline.
Classic.
Seriously, the closing verse ends with Eric Wright, punk always into something getting that night, by Mr. Shitpacker, bend over for the goddamn cracker. No Vaseline, Yeezus. If you haven't heard it, take a listen, because again, Yeezus. That song literally scared me when I was a kid. All facts, no lies. Now, David Faustino. David Faustino was an actor who played Bud Bundy on Married with Children. He was also an artist and a huge fan of hip hop.
I might watch that again.
LA hip hop culture. He used to run an event at Ballistics, a hip hop night at Ballistics. And during a conversation with Hip Hop DX, he recalled the time Eazy-E came into Ballistics right after No Vaseline dropped. Here's what David said. I remember Eazy. He would come through all the time. And then toward the end of NWA, when all the shit was going down with Ice Cube, I remember he was there one night. He had just rolled through by himself. Speed was spinning, and Eazy rolled through by himself to see Speed just to hang out. I don't think Speed was DJing at that moment. Someone else was on the tables, and they spun Ice Cube's No Vaseline. And, you know, what could Eric do but just kind of go with it? He got into the spirit of it. He was on the balcony, and people could see him. And he just kind of like got into the song, and he was singing along and bopping his head and moving his arms and shit to the crowd. What could he do? Run away? He was a good cat. I love that last part. I think it's so telling. I'm going to read it one more time. What could Eric do but just kind of go with it? He got into the spirit of it. No Vaseline continues to live on as one of rap's most disrespectful diss tracks ever. Billboard actually ran a list this week of the 15 most scathing diss tracks of all time. They ranked No Vaseline at number 4 on their list. Meet the Grams, that was number 5. Family Matters was number 7. But No Vaseline's impact has lived on for
hit him up, I'll give him one.
Release. So you can get a sense of the magnitude of the energy in Ballistics that night when the DJ played that record. Eric was a good cat. He got into the spirit of it. Now that right there is what I like most about Drake's first released verse since Kendrick Lamar's Shakespearean Shakedown. He's featured on Sexy Red's You My Everything, which is on her new mixtape, In Sexy We Trust. Tate Keith is on the production, but halfway through Drake's verse, the beat switches to Metro Boomin's BBL Drizzy. That's right. Drake's first verse back from the melee is him leaning into the public shellacking he just received. Like Eazy-E, he's taking a laugh with me approach to humiliation. That's what I like about this tactic. In fact, that's the only thing I like about this tactic, because when you drill into the verse, the same cultural questionable moments are glaring like a cop's flashlight through the driver's side window, essentially reinforcing everything Kendrick pointed out on Euphoria, Meet the Grams, and Not Like Us. Check this out. Kendrick hilariously said, when I see you standing by Sexy Red, I believe you see 2 bad bitches on Euphoria. And now Drake's first song back is with Sexy Red. So there's that. Topically speaking, Drake's verse is essentially him bragging about buying women plastic surgery. Seriously, that's what it's about. Here's an example. Me and the surgeon got history.
Freak Drake
I changed
nephew?
a lot of
What
girls'
that mean?
lives for real. I need a new body, they hitting me. Hey, BBL Drizzy, they want a new body, they asked me for it. The last one, Jung, he did it for free because I sent over so many past ones for him. But Red, don't even have to worry about all that shit. Just keep it natural for him, I swear. Okay.
Wait, what?
Just talking about plastic surgery. The rap Avengers essentially and effectively, in my opinion, called Drake's culture.
Jody boy, what's up?
BBL Drizzy hilariously, but also called
Jody?
a cease and desist to French Montana, effectively calling the police on French Montana. Kanye pointed out his allegiance and alliance with Lucien Grange and fixing the numbers. Kendrick said that it sounds cringeworthy when Drake says the N-word, then also called him a colonizer for stealing from Atlanta artists. And meanwhile, Drake told the world that he told his mom that Rick Ross is racist. On Family Matters, he said that Kendrick's always rapping like he's trying to get the slaves freed. On Slime You Out, he said,
What's poppin'?
Like American slaves. You think after none of those went over culturally in a positive way, he might refrain from making references that even allude to anything in that direction? You think that might be something he would stay away from, especially on the track with a foundational black woman, especially in that situation, right? Right? Wrong. Drizzy actually tripled down in his verse, rapping, yeah, you think I'm a bachelor girl, but I swear you ain't got your masters, but I stay breaking your back in the master bedroom, I swear. Now, whether subliminal Drizzy not correlating that masters to slave master was an oversight or otherwise is irrelevant because perception is
cracking your back in the master bedroom? Wait, what?
Drizzy not correlating that.
Hold up. Because I might have heard this song like once. Oh, he's breaking your back in the master bedroom. You think I'm a bachelor girl, but I swear you ain't get your masters. Okay, you didn't go to college, but I stay breaking your back in the master bedroom, I swear.
Masters, but I stay breaking your back in the master bedroom, I swear.
Master bedroom is crazy.
Drizzy not correlating
and why he rhyme, I swear what I swear.
Master was an oversight or otherwise is irrelevant because perception.
That AI picture is crazy.
Perception to a substantial population is that Drake is a culture vulture who, as Kendrick depicts on Meet the Grams, Billboard's 5th most scathing diss track of all time, remember, that Drake hates black women, hypersexualizes them with kinks of an info fetish. I can't call it either way personally because Drizzy again says stuff like whip and chain you like American slaves. So yeah, slave master feels like something Drake might mean. There's a few other interesting moments in the verse. He alludes to the shooting at his house, for example. He alludes to his 20v1 with the Rap Avengers, for example. Kicking, maybe we go to St. Lucia. I've been there, so I'll introduce you. Or maybe you go to St. Martin with me if these niggas take a break and quit starting with me. It's all happening, I guess, but the real story of this track, is the fact that Drake is rapping on the beat made by the guy he's beefing with. That's the story here. And even that feels like it lacks imagination because the internet told him to do that 3 weeks ago.
Far from Atlanta to Toronto for June 12th show.
What he feels like Drake should do.
So what did Drake do right now? The one idea was Drake should drop a song on BBL Drizzy. Yeah, he seems a hit, and BBL Drizzy is a hit. And then I saw FA post this, and FA was like, he should just flip BBL to Bad Bitches Love Drake. Yeah.
You stay in Atlanta? From Atlanta to Toronto. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's crazy.
So now
that's crazy.
The BBL Drizzy idea out there already. But Kanye's last diss track, The Heart Part 6, went viral on Twitter before the...
Kendrick has been trying to use recency bias to his advantage. This has been said before, but Drake could make The Heart Part 6 and end this once and for all. Drake literally stole the idea of Heart Part 6 from Twitter a few days before he released it. At this point, Kendrick doesn't even need to respond anymore. Drake, blah, blah, blah. It's crazy because Drake even got the Heart Part 6 idea from Twitter. Also, Drake definitely got the idea to name this song Heart Part 6 from Twitter. Ain't no way he came up with that on his own. Kendrick stole the timestamp by angle from him. Drake has to take Part 6 from which is... He also has to be his last track, and he should only make it about Kendrick. And that's exactly what he did, too. That's crazy. I remember, I don't see people talking about that a lot, but wasn't there somebody trying to sue Drake and Kendrick for saying that they stole their ideas from Twitter or something like that, and that they deserve points on the song because the idea for the song came from them and certain talking points on the song came from them? First of all, that goes to show you people don't read the terms and conditions. Anything you post on Twitter does not belong to you. It belongs to the platform that you posted it on. If you post pictures on Instagram basically owns the rights to those pictures now. If you post something on Twitter, first of all, it's all just a bunch of words. Nobody owns a bunch of words. But if you post an idea or post something on Twitter, you cannot claim that because my Twitter account posted it, it belongs to me. Because it technically belongs to Twitter because it's on their platform. So I'm pretty sure that's probably why the lawsuit just disappeared. But I do remember that last year there were people trying to say that they're going to sue or they filed lawsuits against Drake and Kendrick for taking their ideas on Twitter. The whole certified lover boy, certified pedophile. They say that that was something that somebody posted on Twitter and they put it in a song, so they should get points on the song as writers. And like, I hate people. That's what I hate. I don't say people. I hate internet people because they just
Well, look at these tweets.
so fucking annoying.
The point is this: like Eazy-E in Ballistics that night when No Vaseline dropped.
If you really think that your tweets, because I could say, that's like, say somebody tweeted randomly, just randomly tweeted on which this is a badly aged lyric. Badly aged lyric. I haven't heard a video or heard nobody talk about this, but this lyric has aged badly. But say in 2000 and when did Twitter come out? Twitter came out like 09 or something like that. Say early on in Twitter, somebody tweeted, woke up this morning feeling like P. Diddy. Imagine somebody just randomly tweeted that. And then that song, I forgot who made the song, but that song came out. I think that was Kesha, right? Was it Kesha? I don't remember. But say that song came out afterwards. Would you now try and sue Kesha saying that she or whoever made the song? I don't know. Whoever made the song, would you sue them saying, hey, they took this lyric that I put in a tweet? I don't think you would do that. I don't think you would. That lyric aged badly, though. Waking up feeling like P. Diddy is crazy.
Metro Boomin's diss beat because I like that he's leaning into it. I like that he's going along with it, showing some humor, a sense of humor. I like how he's staying in people's faces. I like how he's not letting another loss keep him from coming outside. But artistically, Drake hasn't been interesting since the first half of Scorpion. And that album...
The crazy thing is, too, is like, it's what's it called? It's smoke and mirrors. So there was this thing being painted like, oh, Drake's moving on past the beef and Drake is going to give us a hit for the... I remember people kept saying, Drake going to have the song with the summer coming soon. And then the summer passed and there was nothing. But people say he's unbothered and he was posting these pictures calling himself the sixth god and this and that. And the whole time, because this has been pointed out in the lawsuits, the whole time behind the scenes, Drake was asking and begging people. He wanted to come off unbothered to the public, but behind the scenes, he was begging people to take down Not Like Us, stop promoting this song and this and that. And because UMG wouldn't listen to him, it would later go into the lawsuit. So he was faking the entire time. He was lying and manipulating people the entire time afterwards, not beforewards. He was doing it beforewards, but during that whole time with the BBL Drizzy, oh, I'm unbothered, I'm going to rap on the beat and this and that. Whole time, he was pulling his hair out, literally, because he cut the brakes, pulling his hair out, trying to get this song taken down.
Came out in 2018. That's my opinion. I feel that way solely because of the lack of growth and earnestness and honestly effort it feels like he puts into his bars in recent years. Years where it feels like he goes viral more so for his polarizing declarations than his sonic innovation. It feels like Drake is running out of ideas, run low on creativity, run out of things to say. So crowdsourced content is the most efficient way to keep the audience engaged. Kendrick Lamar's Shakespearean Shakedown revealed the striking lack of imagination in Drake's lyrical utility belt. His verse on Sexy Red's You My Everything is just the latest example. It's all happening.
I agree with that. And that's what I be saying. That's what when I be talking about how I just find For All the Dolls hilarious. I found even her loss, even though I feel like her loss was pretty good, I found her loss hilarious. Certified Lover, I just found these hilarious because it's just like, this man is like a grown-ass man. And he's talking like this, he's acting like this, he's behaving like this, he's rapping about these things, and I'm just like, wow, I can't really believe he just said that shit. Like, that's been my reaction to it's not creative, it's not thought-provoking, it's no growth, it's just, wow, you're a grown-ass man saying the shit that you saying. Like, For All the Dolls was what, 2023? 2023. So Drake was what, 37, 36? Talking about, oh my gosh, you ruined my Bahamas trip. Oh my god, why did you love me? Why did you use me for my money? Oh my gosh. I'm just listening to this like, okay, I guess this is the type of time you on. You ruined my Bahamas trip, oh my gosh.
At the onset of the battle between Drake and Kendrick Lamar, an old
you broke my heart. Like, are you? Imagine a 40-year-old man. He's not 40 yet, but just picturing a 40-year-old man still singing about how a girl broke his heart. 40 years old. Yes, your heart's still gonna be broken no matter how old you are. But you would think that you've grown enough to kind of be able to be like, hey, it happens. I'm just going to move on and keep going. I feel like I'm kind of getting to that, but I don't know yet because, I'm still with my girlfriend, whatever like that. But if I were in that predicament, I wouldn't take it as hard. Like in the recent years, I've been in situations with girls and things ain't work out, and I just move on. I'm not sitting there, pondering on it, boo-hoo, woe is me, because it just happens. You know what I'm saying? Like I told the dude early in the thing, you just take the L's as lessons and you move on. You find ways to improve, find ways to progress, and you just move on. But to be 35, 36, 37, and you're crying and moaning into the microphone about how someone broke your heart and fuck my ex and all stuff like that, it's just really childish.
Around the time Drizzy first signed to Young Money, Cash Money. In that conversation, Wayne described some of the advice he gave in the beginning. Here's a clip.
I was going to tell him, don't change anything. Don't think because you're coming over here about me that you got to start rapping about the things I rap about. Don't do none of that. Please rap about your little TV show, whatever you want to rap about.
Your little TV show.
Girls, do that. That's what you're good at. I was like, don't come because, of course, it's only natural for you to come over and just think, if I'm with Wayne, and I'm going to rock like Wayne, and so I rap about what I rap about, and so that was one of the main things I had to tell them from the jump, like, hey, don't change anything. Don't start singing about killing nobody. Don't start singing about the streets.
Yeah, talk about what you know. Yeah.
Yeah, just like keep
If you did the exact opposite after you got from under Wayne.
Rap about your little TV show, keep it Canadian, man. Great advice. I mean, in art and in life, authenticity is king, and
right.
Weezy understands that. Sometimes
and that's what got brought him to the dance. And that's what they say. Never forget what brought you to the dance. And I'm not gonna say he forgot, but he's changed it so much to where it's not even the same. He's still going to make the songs for the girls. The like they said, the sexy songs for you was this is for the. Just think of the context of that. At one point, Drake was called the artist that makes songs for women. People said he was soft and he was this and that. He was a simp or whatever like that. That's what people say. He makes songs for women. He had a nice women's fan base. Nothing's wrong with that. Women are the most important people when it comes to music and building the fan base. If you can get the girls, you can get anybody, because the men are just going to follow what the girls are liking. And that's exactly what happened with Drake. The women gravitated towards him because he was making good enough music for them, and then the men followed. But then at a certain point, his songs became not songs for girls, but became songs for dudes who think they have girls. Because that was the rhetoric around sexy songs for you. This is for songs for niggas that get bitches. I mean, this is a project for the niggas that get bitches, which isn't true, first of all. But that's two different things. At first, you was the artist making the music for the girls, and you became the artist that makes music for the narcissistic men that believe that their value was in the women that they sleep with. It's not good. That's not a good thing. That's really transgressing and not progressing. Because the thing is, once you get the women, you can get anybody. But also, if you lose the women, then it's over for you. If the girls ain't supporting you, and all you got is a bunch of narcissistic men, it's very, very weak, very weak foundation. The women are a great foundation to build your audience off of. A narcissistic men that only care about themselves and their own self-confidence and self-worth. I don't know.
Share about his real life.
Not good.
But undoubtedly,
it's the worst people you should want to be your fans.
But now, in the aftermath of that battle with Kendrick Lamar, certain accusations are resonating louder than ever. For example, when Kendrick said this isn't a 20v1, this is a 1v20 if I gotta slap niggas that right with you, when he said that on Euphoria, it's resonating extra loud now since a seemingly constant flood of new reference tracks keep leaking, convincing a population that Drake's pen belongs to another hand. When Kendrick said, when I see you stand by sexy red, I believe you see two bad bitches, it resonates extra loudly now as a culture play, I guess, since Drake's first feature since the head-to-head was with Sexy Red over the BBL Drizzy sample.
And then you do that, then you do the 100 gigs, and then you drop the songs that you got with 21 Savage and Young Thug after he just said that you were in Atlanta for a check balance. You don't help your own case.
Playing at that, since the track actually collapsed on the chart, might I add. For the first time this decade, Drake doesn't have a song or feature in Spotify's top 20. Jesus. And today, Drake releases his second track since Kendrick Lamar's Shakespearean Shakedown. It's called Wagwan Delilah. It's a remix of Hey Delilah by the Plain White T's, which went #1 in 2006. The internet was not happy at all with this track because Drake is rocking another accent, which immediately reminds people of when Kendrick said, "There's no accent you can sell me." The memes are wild. Here's one with Angela from The Office with a Jamaican sign on her head. Here's a picture of Rachel Dolezal. Here's Homer Simpson. Now, on surface level, this looks super lame bodega, almost like Drake is lost. What is he doing? But there's more going on here. Shout out to my brother Ricky Dredd from We Love Hip Hop, Canada's finest hip hop culture platform. I asked him what's going on with this track, and he broke it down for me. Here's Ricky.
On first listen to the verse, or if you hear the verse in an isolated form, it may sound like Drake might be on some culture vulture type things. However, when you really delve a little bit deeper and you get into the Toronto culture a little bit more, this is Drake doing a parody right now, paying homage to all the different Toronto content creators who do comedy out here, who do a lot of different comedy skits, where they exaggerate the Toronto accent, and they just make really funny skits where they do road band type things, or just really crazy skits where they make fun of the Toronto accent and exaggerate it to the most. So when you hear Drake talking about there's air traffic and all the different ways that he's exaggerating the accent in this song, it's not to be taken as a serious song or something that could be put in the catalog to be analyzed. It's just all in fun. So big salute to Snow Day, big salute to all the different content creators out here like Dem Dogs, even Plush. Okay, so
word up, I appreciate that. Now, here's a clip of Drake actually doing that before. This is from For Y'all Entertainment about 7 years ago.
You know what I'm saying? She out of 10 for sure. You know what I'm saying? Trust me. Siskel and Ebert thing, dog. Trust me.
Can't last with a 10, bro.
Allowing you's not a 10, though. You
No,
know,
Driz.
it's not allowed.
So that 10, bro. It's not that great. Just give it that 10 and done, bro. You don't make a film a 10? That's what you're telling Typo, bro. That's what you're telling Typo.
It's a trio.
Bro, it's not a treat.
It's a trio. It's a yo,
This is funny. This is funny. But it makes you think about when Drake was young and he said that the way that Toronto people talk is ignorant. Makes you think about that. When she was like, oh yeah, they say things like mine's them over there. And she's like, oh, that's interesting. He said, not really, it's ignorant. So now you not only incorporated that into your music, but you got skits of you imitating and mimicking the same accents that you said were ignorant. That's just very interesting. That is funny though.
So essentially, Drake is trolling the masses while celebrating Toronto youth culture. And from that perspective, I support this track wholeheartedly. I mean, one thing
I don't support it.
Behind Drake, they weren't unified behind the boy. In a sense, he's a man without a base, and in that context, Wagwan Delilah is an olive branch to his native land. Like Lil Wayne told him to do years ago. He's keeping it Canadian, highlighting their culture,
Crossing streams
into it. And I support that 100%. It's all happening.
Wagwan Delilah. Yeah, no, I didn't like that. Not specifically for Drake, for that other dude who was talking about the ABCD, EBT
Compton MC Jason Martin, formerly known as Problem, was on Bootleg Kev talking about his new album
Shout out
with
Problem,
DJ Quick,
Jason
it's called
Martin.
Supercut, which means goat killer, as well as Kendrick Lamar's Shakespearean Shakedown of Drizzy Drake and all things OVO. He recalled a text conversation he had with Dot immediately after Family Matters dropped. Here's the clip.
I ain't gonna hold you. I'm gonna give you some real insight as you hear this first. They drop Family Matters, and I text him, I'm like, this ain't it. He's like, oh, I'm like, this ain't gonna get it. I was like, man, it's time to step on his head. He was like, say less. I'm thinking we just text. It ain't nothing deep like that. I go to the bathroom. I come back. The motherfucking song's uploaded. I said, wait. I text him like, nigga, you already. He's like, man, I've been waiting for this nigga to drop something. So he didn't even know what he was going to get. Man, Drake shot a video and all this shit, man. I got sent at the crib. Boom. You listen.
Something like that the whole moment.
Sometimes you just gotta know what to do and what not to do.
Sometimes you gotta know what to do and what not to do. Big facts. If there was ever a question of the greatness of King Kendrick Lamar, the way he crashed Ari's party minutes after Family Matters release should serve as a reminder.
That's still crazy.
To execution.
That should be one of the best chess moves in the whole battle, was stepping on a song like that.
Moment in that Bootleg Kev interview that stood out to me. Kev and Jason were talking about how they expected Drake to take an L in this matchup the whole time. Here's Jason.
I did too.
I was able to have different conversations with
because like people was like, oh,
Compton.
Like certain people was like, oh no, Drake, Kendrick doesn't stand a chance. Is Drake this and that? And I was just like, it's a rap battle. People's like, oh, he got all the hits and oh, he's success, and they're just jealous of him and this and that. But Drake's gonna squash him. Drake is Thanos. They're trying to paint him as Thanos and this high level. And I'm just like, are we just forgetting that he lost against Pusha T? Like, I don't know.
Community.
I never saw a world where in a rap battle, bar for bar, that was just gonna happen.
Every move, it was like a chess game. We were just watching it. It was dope. It was dope to see. It was dope to actually get some insight from the man himself, knowing like, oh yeah, let's rock, let's do it. But it never got to the point where it was like we're gonna fucking fight or shoot. So I was able to enjoy it.
Did you catch that? The internal Compton unity community. I love that phrasing. I mean, it just feels
world where, even though people want to argue the opposite for whatever reason, in general, we're talking lyrically, bar for bar, the technicalities of rapping and all stuff like that. Lyrically, Kendrick is obviously the superior lyricist. You can argue that maybe Drake's a better songwriter just because based off of his hits and the songs he's written for other people. But when we're talking lyrically, the technicalities, rhyme schemes, the advanced level lyricism, storytelling, painting pictures, being able to speak from different perspectives and all these different things that come into being a lyricist. Lyrically, it's obvious who's the better rapper. You understand what I'm saying? Who's the better songwriter can be a debate. You can debate whether Drake's a better songwriter than Kendrick or Kendrick's a better songwriter than Drake. But it wasn't a songwriting battle. It was a rap battle. You understand what I'm saying? And that's how, when people kept trying to tell me Drake's been the best rapper alive for a long time, I'm like, well, alive? No. Alive? No.
Jason's from Compton, that part's clear. So
because like Kendrick didn't just die for 5 years. Royce the 5 didn't just die for 5 years. You understand what I'm saying? Lil Wayne didn't just die. Like these people are still alive. Lloyd Banks didn't die. Fabulous didn't die. Like there's a list of Conway the Machine and Benny the Butcher didn't die. J. Cole didn't die. So to keep saying, oh, Drake's been the best rapper for 10 years, best rapper? No. Alive? No. Obviously not.
The internal Compton unity community?
Black Thought didn't just die for 10 years and leave it to Drake. There's been way superior rappers than Drake walking around. Kendrick didn't die. I was saying 10 years? Like when people was having that hot take, Drake's been the best rapper for the past decade. I'm just like, look, what?
Anthony Anderson, he's from Compton. So is Kevin Costner.
He's been
there's a ton.
Outshine first person shooter. Whatever the Lil Baby song is. Like, he has some good because people only think in extremes. I talked about it before, people only think in extremes. Drake has not been the worst rapper bar for bar. Drake is a pretty good rapper. Best? Of course it's up to opinion, but as a rapper, best? I don't know. People that's why I say people like to live in extremes. So when you have that conversation, when people say Drake has been the best, that maybe 50% of the time.
Game, Westside Boogie, RJ, Roddy Ricch, YG.
Wait, what's going on? My bad. What's going on?
Really dope people who aren't famous. I mean, just the idea of this internal Compton unity community that Jason Martin probably coined right there on the spot on the top of his head just sparked so many interesting thoughts. Compton is such a rich and righteous, pioneering and proud
city. Was he from Compton? Damn, I didn't know that. I knew he was from LA. I didn't know he was from Compton.
Together when outsiders attack. For example, there was an odd moment at the beginning of Drake's Family Matters where he says, you know who really banging said my nigga YG? You know who really banging said my nigga Chuck T? You know who even banging said my nigga CB? That whole setup though, super out of place. I mean, it's as if Drake is doing his best to prove he still has friends.
And that's another thing, bro. Oh my God, listening back to this and like remembering certain things, and then I'm like, wow, this contradicts some of the narratives, or this makes certain things that people make just stop. So I talked about it earlier. When I said I forgot what I said as far as Drake, but when I was talking about Young Thug, it was the TaylorMade thing where dude, right? And then I said that reminds me of when Young Thug said, I don't know why Kendrick mentioned my name in that song, in that beef. I don't understand what was up with that. But then, before Kendrick did that with Thug, Lil Baby, Quavo, 2 Chainz, Drake did the exact same thing to Chuck T, not Chuck T, to The Game, to Chris Brown, to all the times that Drake pulled other people into this robbery. He pulled Snoop Dogg. He Pac, rest in peace. He pulled the game. He pulled YG. He pulled Chris Brown into this beef when Chris Brown was dealing with Quavo. And then when on one song, Kendrick says, "Hey man, you be connecting yourself to these people just for their clout and just for their attention and just for their cultural cachet." That's the problem, but not all the other people Drake brought in. It's very interesting.
Chuck T, they still like me. I promise they do. Yeah. Now the CB he references is Chris Brown, which is a tone-deaf salute considering the final third of Family Matters is spent accusing Kendrick of being a wife beater, and Chris Brown famously beat the brakes off Rihanna. Now Drake and
that is crazy. That's badly timed.
Multiple tracks and
badly timed. You're gonna and that's why I said the allegations that were brought up in this whole beef was. It seemed like it was just brought up for the context of the beef, and that the issues that either side, even though I do think maybe Kendrick do have an issue with some of the things, but I don't think it's that big of an issue to where he would. But for you to bring up, oh, you beat your wife and this and that without evidence, but also to say that in the exact same song where you shout out Chris Brown, it makes you wonder. How do you really feel about that? So are you just using it as let's see, look at him, he does this, he does that? Was it just that moment, or was it like I really care about this issue and you're a bad person for doing this? Obviously not, because the Chris Brown thing was years and years ago. You had your issues with Chris Brown, and then when you wanted to be petty and get back at Rihanna, you would start collaborating and being friends with him and stuff like that. So it's obvious that you have a history of using domestic violence as a tool to get at people and get under people's skin. That's obviously a thing that you do. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I was just like, that is one of the things I don't like about the battle, is that not only Drake did that, but I think Kendrick kind of did the same thing. You brought up that the sex trafficking. You brought up, or you alluded to sex trafficking. You alluded to young people being taken advantage of and being groomed by Drake and LVO Kim. You alluded to these things, but then, you know what I'm saying, you don't follow up on it. It's not something that, I'm pretty sure you do take this seriously, but I think you only take it seriously in the context of you. You understand what I'm saying? It's not like there's an investigation going on. You said the what he said, the embassy will be raided. It's only a matter of time, whatever like that. Like, you allude to these things, but then you also in an earlier song brought up, you gonna make me bring back Puff, knowing that Puff is literally in jail because of the things that you're accusing Drake of. So I understand that the context of why he said that was you got slapped by Puff and you didn't do nothing about it. I'll bring him back just to slap you again. But you're gonna shout out Puff. But then, you know what I'm saying, the same accusations, but you giving different energy to both. You know what I'm saying? Because if you feel this way about Drake, but don't have the same energy towards Puff, somebody that you want to call upon to do whatever you feel like he should do, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like neither side took the allegations that they were throwing at each other seriously and only used it as pot shots in the battle versus real things that should be looked deeper into. And the people that are trying to look deep into it, like, hey, this is an issue. Maybe there should be something going on. Now they're suffering the consequences because y'all not taking it as seriously as maybe y'all put forward at one point, which I don't think Drake ever took it seriously, because he just kept using, when you beat on your wife, dude, is it because she's taller than you? Like, I never thought that he took it that seriously.
On a diss track aimed at Kendrick, but YG is from Compton, and by all accounts, he didn't appear to appreciate being used as a left tackle during Aubrey's Hail Mary. He confirmed as much on his very own Drake diss, Weird, which is littered with subliminals at the Canadian pop star. Stuff like, you weird hoes, we don't go near those, and you ain't Pyru, stop talking Pyru business, and niggas weird, pillow talking to hoes, you don't support the bros, you ain't living by the code. Drizzy fits all three.
And I heard that song too when it came out, and I was like, why seem like he's shooting at Drake? But I was like, nah, maybe that's just in my brain.
Jason Martin's
Whole time he was.
internal content unity community. In this confrontation, he's unified against Drake, just like just about everybody else out here on the West Coast. Everybody not named Game, that is. When Drake says, you know who really bang a set by nigga Chuck T, he's referring to Game.
The Game always been kind of weird to me. Game is an amazing rapper, but sometimes the things that he stands on and his perspective on certain things, it's so weird. But the Game is just like Drake in that you're an old ass child. The Game is an old ass child. I'm not gonna lie to you. The Game was still talking about having sex with Kim Kardashian and name dropping. When you listen to, I was listening to, was it Dream? Was it Dream featuring with Kanye West? It's one of the Game songs. And literally almost every line, it was the song that told me it take more than a bullet in the heart to hold you back or whatever like that. I think it was Dream or something like that. It might be in that song. But almost every single line is name dropping somebody else. I need to pull it up. But when I was listening to it, I'm like, bro, every single line is a name drop. I feel like it's clever. It's clever, but when you go through the history of the game, it's hilarious. Genius, because he mentions Kanye West, he mentions Dr. Dre, he he mentions Whitney Houston. And I still wonder, did Whitney Houston really tell him that, or did he just say that just to say it? Game, I think it was Dream. So yeah, I woke up at that comment 2001, about the same time Dre topped 2001. That's a Dr. Dre reference. 3 years later, the album is No the Doubt, rated it. So that's Biggie, Jay-Z, and Snoop Dogg. I feel like Pac, after Snoop Dogg's trial was done, that's Pac. Off of Snoop Dogg again. Dre behind that G Series and All Eyes on Me. That's Dr. Dre again. I watched The Death of a Dynasty, so I told Vibe Magazine working with Dre was a dream. Once again, like, continuously just name dropping people. I had visions of making a classic, then my world turned black like I was staring out of Stevie Wonder's glasses. Another name drop. It's kind of hard to imagine like Kanye West coming back from his fatal accident to be making and rapping. Kanye West. But We the Future, Whitney Houston told me that it's going to take more than a bullet in the heart to hold me back. Almost every single thing he mentions is referencing somebody else. And then you go into the hook. Blushing in the 40, I'm letting the ink pen bleed, because Martin Luther King had a dream. Name drop Martin Luther King. Aaliyah had a dream. Left Eye had a dream. Aretha Kanye brought on my dream. Then you go to the second verse. I had dreams of fucking R&B bitch. Biggie reference. Like Maya reference. When I saw that ass on the front of that King magazine, that's magazine. Read the article in the magazine. She loved gangster, love nasty thing. He's continuing to talk about the person that he name dropped recently. Little girls never give it up. But anything is possible. It's 50 Cent. Hurdles, life's obstacles, found my way through the maze, then returned to pain like Frankie Beverly and Maze. Like almost every single line is a reference to somebody or name dropping somebody. Impressive songwriting. If you can do that, that's impressive. But when you look at the Game's catalog, like I said, in totality, Game is one of the most name dropping rappers that you will ever hear in your life. Almost every verse is a reference to somebody or saying somebody's name. Almost all the time. Used to dream of being on unsigned hype till I was crushed by Dave Mays. Almost let my pen fall asleep on the page. Daydreaming yesterday, dozing off backstage. I thought I saw Easy talking to Jam Master Jay. So I walked over her Jam Master Day. It's a hard knock life, then you pass away. They say sleep is the cousin of death. That's a reference to Nas. So my eyes wide open because the dream is akin to your last breath. Like, and even the third verse, Huey Newton, Eric Wright, which is Easy E, Ronald Reagan, Mike Lim, Who Kid, DJ Clue, Biggie, Marvin Gaye, Eminem, 50 Cent, Jesus. Like, the Game name dropped so many people in this one song. And when I was listening to it, I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, the Game it's just hilarious. That's really his thing, though. That's his style. It's like the name drops or whatever like that. But when you really listening to a certain songs, you're just like, all right, Game, I get it. You know famous people and you know their names and you remember the things that they did and you're referencing them things. But sometimes the name be just gone.
Absolutely one of Compton's finest. His debut album, The Documentary, sold 5 million out the gate, instantly classic. Before the rise of Kendrick Lamar, Game was the face, the leader of the New West, carrying the flag for his city and arguably all of California during the 2000s, a largely quiet decade for breakthrough new rappers from both coasts. Kendrick even points out Game's impact on the city, a track off Game's 2011 release, The Red Album. Game used his mic time to cement his lyrical legacy.
2011, damn.
The Black Slim Shady in the process, accurately boasting how he carried the West. Still a fairly new artist at that time, K-Dot performs the hook, then closes the song with a blistering verse representative on his back. I was in the city where a nigga hadn't seen that shit. Compton, a nigga gotta scream that shit. Incredible song. The two titans link again on Me, the second track off Game's 2015 release, The Documentary 2. Fresh off To Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick had now reached global superstar status with two classics in tow at that point, and both artists celebrated each other's success throughout the song. For example, Kendrick closed the first verse with, Documentary had identities of where I'm from, Therefore, my energy had to make sure the better me won. It ain't no better one, son. It ain't no telling me nothing. Nigga, that's Chuck, Dr. Dre, and Kane. The legacy's done. Black. Game returns the energy, ending the track with Westside, that's on Bloods. This Tech Vibe, that's on Bloods. You fuck with Doc, I'll let you choke on your blood. The respect is there, the love is oozing, the verses.
While it's beneficial for the game.
Is fantastic. You fuck with Doc, I'll let you choke on your blood. Game's clearly got Kendrick's back. But again, this is 2015, 2 years after Kendrick Lamar put the rap world on notice with his verse on Big Sean's Control. Everyone got the friendly hip-hop competition memo sentiment personally, igniting the decades-long Cold War that went nuclear in 2024. The irony though, on that same album, the documentary 2, 15 tracks later, Game seemingly allowed
I thought that was the same project.
Kendrick on 100. Drake raps, I'd have all your fans if I didn't go pop and I stayed on some conscious shit. Then invited Drake to Compton to appear in the music video. I mean, really think about this. The world knows Drake and Kendrick have issues. Then you tell the world in your album that you fuck with that, I'll let you choke on your blood. Then 15 tracks later, on that same project, you literally let someone who is in the middle of Akron City. Jesus.
That's crazy.
It doesn't take a West Coast political analyst.
But Game is a liar. Like what's the word? A habitual liar.
That Compton video shoot marked a major salvo in the war between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. And Game inexplicably planted himself right in the middle of it. Hip Hop DX asked Game about that Drake diss in 2022, and he gives an all rhymes matter type response. He says, I didn't feel like that. I didn't feel like he dissed him, and if I did, I wouldn't have put the song out. Like I said, Kendrick's my brother. I love him too. But if Drake subliminal and slipped something in, again, he's one of the best to ever do it, so is hip hop. Even Kendrick is lyrically equipped to catch any stray and return fire, so I think that at the end of the day, it's all good hip hop. I think that sometimes rap battles, even subliminally in songs, are healthy for hip hop too. Because if you think about it, or no matter how you think about it, it's competition. There's only one number one spot at the top of Billboard or the top of any chart. Everybody wants to have it. DX even asked him who he thought would win in a battle between Kendrick and Drake, and Game said, who I got? Lyrically? I don't know, man. Kendrick is just too fucking incredible. And then Drake is so dope too, man. I mean, I would just like to be a fan of the moment and sit back and watch two of the greatest artists of all time have a go.
What do you mean by that?
I didn't feel like he dissed him, and if I did, I wouldn't put the song out. But if Drake was subliminal, he's one of the best to ever do it, so it's hip-hop. Subliminal disses are healthy for hip-hop too. Who I got lyrically, I don't know. I would just like to be a fan and sit back and watch. I mean, Jesus, I guess Game could be a part of the internal Compton unity community, but
honestly, both sides. Respectability politics, of course.
hoping to generate enough interest to make a major splash on the charts. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. He enlisted 28 guest appearances to generate 25,000 units first week. We covered it all in the Game Going Outside breakdown. Check it out if you missed it. But during that 2022 press run, along with playing both sides in the Drake vs. Kendrick Cold War, he told Drake champs that Kanye West did more for his career than Dr. Dre, and that he put the G in 50 Cent's G Unit. Then he sat with Iron Athlete and described how hurt he was that he wasn't invited to perform at the Super Bowl along with the rest of iconic Dr. Dre family tree. In that conversation, he said, we on the West Coast are the only motherfuckers who have this grab and barrel mentality, where we want to keep niggas down. Snoop Dogg was there because he's safe and he's a legend. Snoop is icon. Dre is icon. M is icon. But M is not from LA. 50 is not from LA. I'm not taking away from the fact that they were on the Super Bowl, but LA niggas wouldn't have been in the Detroit Super Bowl or the New York Super Bowl. It just wouldn't have happened. Then he says this, Kendrick...
Hip-hop also wouldn't have been at those Super Bowls.
The fucking Rams was in the Super Bowl, bro. LA, all around the Super Bowl, and I didn't get the call. I was hurt by that.
Wait.
Icon, Dre is icon, M is icon. The fucking Rams was in the Super Bowl, bro.
Wait. What?
The New York Super Bowl. It just wouldn't have happened. Then he says this. Kendrick is not his Super Bowl. Snoop is not his Super Bowl. The fucking Rams was in the Super Bowl, bro. LA, all around the Super Bowl, and I didn't get the call. I was hurt by that. Snoop is icon. Dre is icon. M is icon. I mean, the only non-icons per game are 50 Cent and Kendrick Lamar.
And Mary J. Blige. Mary J. Blige was there too.
And other an icon with an iconic catalog from his own city. Maybe I'm reading into it. Forget I said this. Eminem on Drillmatic on a song called Black Slim Shady, which he dubbed himself 11 years prior on The City featuring Kendrick Lamar. Then it's fair to say, more than fair to say, that Game is out here looking crazy when it comes to aftermath. All this Game's positioning in the battle of Drake versus Kendrick Lamar stand out like a green hat with an orange bill. I mean, this was a time of supreme unity. Us versus them. Compton versus the colonizer. Compton versus the Canadian. They not like us. And Game, absolutely one of Compton's finest and former leader of the New West, Game had an opportunity to reinforce support for an artist from his city, represent for his whole coast, just like YG did when he dropped Weird. But what did Game do? What did he do? The exact opposite. Check this out. On April 16th, following the release of Drake's push-ups, Game made a post of him listening to Drake's energy on IG. I got enemies, got a lot of enemies, got a lot of people trying to drain me of this energy. Then he captioned it, I got rap niggas that I gotta act like I like, but my acting days are over. Fuck them for life. What did you say, nigga? Then on May 10th, a week after Kendrick's Not Like Us packed Drake up, Game
I remember that. I forgot about that. What Game was going at Rick Ross for some reason.
Rick Ross. Rick Ross was part of the Rap Avengers. He coined the phrase BBL Drizzy and essentially acted as Kendrick's troll team, keeping a digital foot on Drake's neck during the entire battle. We covered this all in Drake Deserves the Smoke episode of It's All
I forgot that the Game went at Rick Ross.
Revenge is a great diss track, but the optics are divisive, and considering the number of Kendrick Lamar references, it can easily be mistaken for antagonistic, not to Rick Ross, but to Candyman Kendrick himself. Check these bars. Here's one. This ain't the Kendrick beef. My Drake sings songs. Here's another. My K-Dot shit, I don't have to turn the beam on. A third one. Bad kid, good city, I study the art of war. I mean, he's supposedly going at Rick Ross.
But you keep making references to Kendrick.
Game called in the Joe Budden podcast and tried to explain the unexplainable. When asked why he dissed Ross, he said, a nigga sitting around just trolling. Nigga, keep that same energy, nigga. Bump heads with a nigga that really do this shit. Bad kid, good city, I study the art of war. Ross sitting around trolling, keep that same energy. Bump heads with a nigga that really do this shit. From the same guy that says subliminals in hip-hop are healthy in this exact scenario.
Right.
Ye did more for him than Dr. Dre. From the same guy that brought Drake to Compton to now a rapper with one of the best pens in hip-hop history. Posting Drake after push-ups, a point in time when maybe outside of the internal Compton unity community had the foresight to see how this battle was going to turn out, who thought it might have been a toss-up. Posting Drake then, that's one thing. But directly dissing a K-Dot ally after Not Like Us captures the zeitgeist while including several line-straddling lyrics referencing like Game has issues. The question is why? Maybe it's jealousy or envy or reluctance to assume an older mentor or uncle role to the next generation, or pining for the days when you were the leader of the New West. Maybe seeing someone you inspire surpass your accomplishments and take your place as the reigning king of Compton is a pill too ill to swallow. Maybe Game's penchant for demolishing
sound like somebody else
voting himself off the island has led him to a place where more and more he's starting to look like an artist without any allies, at least in an industry sense, an organizational sense. And Aubrey and OVO are the last best option to align with. Maybe he still sees value in the Drake feature. Maybe he felt justified. Maybe he concocted a narrative that Kendrick sneak dissed him because Game's One Blood starts like this.
I see dead people.
And Kendrick's Not Like Us starts like this.
I see dead people.
But on Juneteenth 2024, Kendrick Lamar is going to take the stage for the first time since smacking Drake with a Shakespearean shakedown. This will be epic. The show is being billed as Ken and Friends, and it's going to resonate as a celebration of Los Angeles, of California, of Black history. And I highly expect Jason Martin and plenty of other suspected members of that internal Compton unity community to take the stage. It'll undoubtedly be LA's biggest, most significant hip-hop experience since that Super Bowl that Chuck T's iconic former allies didn't invite them to. What are the odds? What are the odds that once again, Game will be left standing on the sidelines? And if so, does he deserve it because he earned it? I don't know the answer to these questions. Now, there's an ill moment on Kendrick Lamar's classic album, To Pimp a Butterfly. Halfway through his closing verse on Hood Politics, K-Dot raps, don't ask me about no camera blocking at award shows. No, don't ask about my bitch. No, don't ask about my boats. Unless you asking me about power, yeah, I got a lot of it. I'm the only nigga next to Snoop that can push button. Now, at that time, Kendrick was talking about his refusal to let the blowback from his culture capture and control verse blow into violence. He closes that verse with, nah, homie, we too sensitive. It spill out to the streets. I make the call and get the coast involved, then history repeats. But I resolved inside that private hall while sitting down with Jay. He said, it's funny how one verse can fuck up the game. I'm the only nigga next to Snoop that can push the button. I make the call and get the coast involved, then history repeats. I mean, that is a statement of power. That is a statement of influence. That is a statement made by a good kid from a mad city. Now, there was an ill moment at the onset of Kendrick's portion of the pop-out last night in Inglewood, California. House lights low, a Kia Forum's worth of camera phones illuminating the only glow. Somewhere, someone pushed the button and Kendrick arose from below. Decked in a red hoodie and a Jesus piece chunkier than Donkey Kong Country, a crouch K-Dot kicks into euphoria. He changed a few bars for the occasion. He substituted, matter of fact, I ain't bleed him yet, can I bleed him bet, to give Tupac's ring back and I might give you a new respect. Drake famously bought Tupac's diamond ring for reported $2 million. That's definitely rubbed Kendrick the wrong way. Can't be out here disrespecting Pac's legacy. He also changed, and we can be on a 3-hour time difference to we can be on a 2-hour time difference since Drake's reportedly moved from Toronto to Houston. The lights, the lasers, the crowd reciting the song word for word, the atmosphere felt euphoric. That's how Kendrick started. Then he brought it by the subtleties, the laser-focused attention to detail. For example, Kendrick began his career hype-manning for J-Rock, so it was appropriate that he introduced J-Rock first with Money Trees, then let J-Rock his solo anthem win. Then after that, he brought out the homie Ab Soul and commiserated with him while he performed the first half of 616 in LA. That's probably my favorite song out of this battle at this point in time. I just can't stop listening to it. Then after that, he brought out Schoolboy Q, who started his journey hype-manning for Kendrick. Q rock collard greens and that part. The audience was ballistic.
Collard greens is so hard.
On stage. Then King Kunta, then Mad City, then Humble, then his first song Like That. Then another button was pushed, and the ultimate big homie of West Coast hip-hop, Dr. Dre, rose from beneath the stage, rocking Still DRE and the reigning West Coast anthem of unity, California Love, right alongside the latest GOAT contender to fall from the Dr. Dre family tree. And right before exiting the stage, the Doctor provided the ultimate intro to hip-hop's reigning anthemic diss track, Not Like Us.
I'm gonna sing over the song. I
Crazy moment. That was a crazy moment.
Not Like Us would flood the forum six times for the sixth guy before the show closed. The first 2 times, Kendrick stopped the track at that contagious A minor line, riding the wave. He brought Storm and a homegirl to dance during one rendition, then appropriately DJ Mustard for another. Then, in the latest example of unity, a gaggle of performers, artists, celebrities, NBA players, Russell Westbrook and DeMar DeRozan, and gang members from rival sets joined in on the celebration. And in the illest moment of all, he brought everyone together for a photo so historic that I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up in the Smithsonian one day. The moment was captured on the Jumbotron in black and white, reminiscent of the cover art to his everyone unified in this thing of ours, the way it should be. That was the energy of the entire evening, really. DJ Head opened and introduced a gaggle of fresh California artists, Remble, Ray Vaughn, the Cuzzos, Rucci and As Chike, Jay Worthy and Meet the Whoops,
As Chike, easy shite.
Westside Boogie, Zoe Osama, Kalen For Real, and G Perico, Bino Rito, RJ Mr. LA, O'Geezy, Jason Martin, and even Tommy the Clown, whose dance academy has been fostering peace in Los Angeles since 1992. DJ Mustard ushered in the hitmakers, Blast, Ty Dolla $ign, Dom Kennedy, Steve Lacy, Roddy Ricch, Tyler the Creator, and YG. YG had my favorite performance outside of Kendrick's set. His album, My Crazy Life, is a classic. It always felt like the other side of Kendrick's Good Kid, Mad City to me. His presence and performance felt particularly significant.
Sometimes you gotta pop out and show me this.
But the point is this, a lot has been made of a mythical red button in this back and forth between Kendrick and Drake. Drake famously posted this image as if he had some atomic option sitting in the cut somewhere that would cut Kendrick completely out of the equation. That's how battles go these days. Gratuitous chin-checking with allusions to an even bigger bomb lurking, and while the threat of some nuclear reveal seemed dangled throughout this confrontation.
And the crazy thing is, like, that red button, he's been talking about a red button for so long. Before the beef, he kept on threatening. He has a song on For All the Dogs Part 2. I mean, For All the Dogs, the Scary Hours edition or whatever the fuck, called Red Button. And in that one, it seems like he's talking to like that. So he's been talking about a red button. And then once he gets into this beef with Kendrick, there's another red button. I don't know what this red button is and how the red button applies to multiple people, but he's been talking about that for years. I feel like he even alluded to having something on Pusha T, and he didn't want to go that far. He was talked down by Jay Prince because what he had would have ruined Pusha T's career and this and that. Like, Drake always makes it seem like when he's in a battle and accomplishes somebody that he has information on them that he's hiding and that he's saving them by not pushing a button. But if they keep playing around, he's going to do it and never does it. And then that makes me think about when Rap 100 said that I got this flash drive and Drake knows what's on here and that his dude Top 5 needs to calm down or else he's gonna put it out or whatever like that. So I don't know what's up with people. If you're gonna do something, do it. I hate that. I hate that. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. It's like when rappers say, "Don't talk about my kids" after somebody talked about your kids. He did it already. He should know that that's the line. So when he crossed the line, you should just go off on him. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't tell somebody don't do nothing after they already did it. They did it already. Give them the consequences. They should know ahead of time, hey, if I say this, then it may be disrespectful. And they thought about it and still did it. So it's the same thing.
It was unity. I mean, most people expected to attend Drizzy's metaphorical funeral following Kendrick's Shakespearean shakedown. But in all honesty, for me, after everything that took place in the aftermath, the pop-out transcended rap beef. That image, that moment he created feels like a sense of unity unfelt in this community since Rodney King. It was a moment Glasses Malone said he's always saying what took place on that stage. That's how important this was for the people of Los Angeles. Kendrick Lamar finally pushed that button. He was so reluctant to.
And that's the thing. That is the thing. Is people want to keep pointing out he's riding a wave of Drake and he wouldn't be able to do this because of Drake and this and that. That pop out, yeah, Not Like Us was a moment in that thing, but the bigger moment was the culture of LA, the culture of TDE, the culture of, you know what I'm saying? That was the main focus. Was the culture and the people. That was the main focus. The talents, the dancing, you know what I'm saying? All that was what was being platformed. Drake just happened to fall victim to a portion of it, but that wasn't the entirety of the pop out.
And made a historic statement by doing so. It was a statement of power, a statement of influence, a statement of the limitless possibilities we can achieve if we use our powers for good. It's all happening. Let the internet tell it, and Drake might have actually found his first hit since Kendrick Lamar's Shakespearean Shakedown. Drake dropped another 3-pack, and No Faces, the first track to directly address his beef with K-Dot, Future, Metro Boomin, Rick Ross, The Weeknd, ASAP.
It's crazy how much Drake dropped last year that people was like, oh, this is going to be the one, this is going to be the one. And it took no first-person shooter, right? So Nokia is probably besides the songs in the beef, but outside of the beef, Nokia is Drake's biggest song since First Person Shooter, if I can remember correctly. You know what I'm saying? Like First Person Shooter was a #1 hit record. Nokia peaked at #2. The songs in between.
Not suicidal, but through blistering delivery and blustering bravado,
But like, throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks.
He remains unbound. Check these lyrics. Numbers untouchable. They got the data wrong. This is the moment I know they've been praying on. What? Try knock the boy off, but fuck it, I'm staying on. He raps on the first verse as if he's giving himself a pep talk, as if he's persuading himself that the boy still got it. But in the process of pretending to be unbothered, he stressed out his therapist to the point of quitting. I don't get sleepy off no melatonin. My therapist put in a 30-day notice because I keep talking about beefing in business and money and women. It's no diagnosis. That rhyme scheme is tough, but then he cloaks the end of the track in faux victimhood as if he was simply replying to the snipes by the rap Avengers and hadn't spent a decade trend hopping, track stealing, and bridge burning everyone he leaned into for cultural cachet. He says they emptied the clip, swapped that shit out, and I came back reloaded. I'm just so happy that niggas who envied and held that shit in got to finally show it. I'm over the moon. Yeah, we'll see you boys soon.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
No Face also features a 2-word Playboy Cardi appearance that's most interesting since Cardi is signed to ASAP Rocky's AWGE imprint. And this week, ASAP called Drake a pussy boy in his Billboard cover story. We'll see how this evolves going forward. Sonically, it's super strong. It feels like Drake is tapping into his inner Ja Rule, especially at the beginning of the first verse when he says, how you get lit off a nigga you hated on? The cognitive dissonance is glaring. It's another example of faux victimhood, considering Drake's been sneak sniping for years. I mean, think about this. How do you get lit off a nigga you hated on? Maybe he should ask his advocate 50 Cent.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Wankster was 50's first #1 song. It peaked at number 13 in 2002 and dismantled Ja Rule's career in the process. Now, regardless of the street drama at the foundation,
was what most
of the world heard of 50 Cent.
Right.
Now, was that a forced analogy that's completely different in the context
That's
of
hilarious.
Drake's reference simply and solely because I wanted to shoehorn a Ja Rule reference into this commentary? Goddamn right. Because that's exactly who Drake's looking like right now. And for that bar to be lost on Aubrey or whoever wrote it is supremely ironic, considering 50 was just showing the boy love in his recent Hollywood Reporter cover story. Sure, 50 had great raps and great mixtapes before Wankster dropped, but so did all these other guys that Aubrey is saying got lit off of him. That's the tragedy of Drizzy Drake post-Shakespearean Shakedown. He seems to be doing everything in his power to ensure that every shot Kendrick levied at him continues to come to fruition. Take circadian
You do it to yourself.
For example, the term circadian rhythm refers to the 24-hour cycles that are part of the body's internal clock, running in the background to carry out essential functions and processes. So the title of this track is another snipe at Kendrick by attempting to co-opt perhaps the most powerful part of 16 in LA, where he beautifully emotes, I know this type of power is going to cost, but I live in circadian rhythms of a shooting star. It's beautiful. Drake also tagged this as part 2 to The Language, a track from his 2013 album Nothing Was the Same, which was an outright response to Kendrick's Control verse, which
Language is fire
rap's greatest rap beef in motion 11 years ago. Sincerely, the dichotomy between uses of the term circadian rhythm.
Now you speaking my language. Now you speaking my language.
Circadian rhythms sound powerful, like something to aspire to. Drake makes circadian rhythms sound pitiful, like homie needs a hug.
We don't care.
But doesn't feel
I said Drake. Some of the early Drake shit is just timeless. The new shit is just, I don't know.
Funeral days that for me, but I dodged it like a truck. Yeah, at the end of that same verse, which is hilarious, considering he hasn't dodged this truck at all. I mean, he might as well have Armored Apocalypse imprinted on his face because this beef is sitting on his head top like a 100 gig drop from the Plot Twist account. So that was a fucking lie. And outside of those two examples, the rest of the track consists of little more than disjointed, studied growth relationship raps. I mean, he literally opens the song with, "You sent an 8-minute voice note straight from the heart." I reply like, "Yeah, whatever, come get your stuff." When Drake very in fashion, rap game like my sleeping pattern, cause how the fuck am I still up? All I hear in my ears, Kendrick's line from 616 in LA when he says, "No, you can't sleep. These images trouble you."
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Perhaps that's Drake's point. Perhaps he's trying to flip circadian rhythm just like he attempted to flip BBL Drizzy on City Reds, You My Everything. But both attempts feel forced and flaccid, just like SOD, another song released in this round of Drake Finsta drops. The original version kicked up conflict almost immediately. Soulja Boy was salty because Drake mentions SOD, or Stacks on Deck, which is the name of Soulja's label. Then Lil Yachty went on Andrew Schultz's podcast and said he leaked the song, then called Super Soap to Kai Cenat because Mr. Hotspot wouldn't clear the sample for goodness gracious. Here's a clip.
I sent a song to Kai to leak.
Yes, I see that.
Right. We couldn't get the sample cleared. So I just let Kai play it. But this wasn't an artist, this was an Instagram social media influencer.
And they wouldn't clear a sample?
Yeah, he went down like a Christian path. If it's a good song, it's like you get to perform it and you get to...
That's how you making money on the road.
Yeah. Mr. Hotspot reached viral fame through his kind-hearted personality and endearing
I remember him.
videos. All things considered, he appears to be
where I remember him from, though.
Stays out of drama and replies to inquiries into tawdry celebrity gossip with,
"It's none of my business. It's none of my business."
These days,
I do remember him from singing. What was he on? I remember him singing on something. I just don't remember what it was.
Sample request by saying,
"I'm blessed to work with children, so we just gotta make it clean for them. Like, we don't need no children getting whooped because they said this or that. You understand? And if you look at the backside, it's the children who really running these views up. So if we make sure both verses clean, everybody coming clean, everybody gonna benefit for sure. We ain't trying to hold them back from nothing, but we just need the morals correct. That's all."
But we just need to get the morals correct. This is crazy. Really think about this. Mr. Hotspot's like, "Yeah, but we just gotta keep it clean for the kids." And then Yachty's like, "Nah, nigga, they release it to the kids."
Yeah, nah, fuck the kids. Let's send it to the most popular streamer with the kids.
Super Soak as SOD and cleans it up by wiping Yachty off. Jesus. Now, whether that's because Yachty's version was lathered in profanity or because Yachty is a less than lackluster lyricist remains to be clarified. Regardless, from leaking it to Kai Cenat to kicking Yachty off, Drake forced SOD into the marketplace, and in the end, his version is noticeably more kid-friendly than the original Super Soap.
Jesus Christ.
The most frustrating part for Team Drizzy has to be this pattern of weird side quests that seems to emerge. Following the Heart Part 6, a mysterious Twitter account popped up dropped a cryptic post about an alleged unflattering situation involving Drake and a handicapped journalist for the Brooklyn Eagle named Christopher Alvarez one early morning at the notorious Mark Hotel in New York City. We covered this all in the Things Are Getting Weird episode of TCM News because Alvarez published an editorial in the Brooklyn Eagle that, for many following this Riddler-esque side quest, raised more questions than answers about his relationship and what happened that night at the Mark. Then, within 12 hours of Drake dropping 100 gigabytes for your head top earlier this month, a presumed acquaintance of Drake's named XO Snow was featured in a YouTube documentary called
Oh yeah, I remember that.
For using the Kick and Monkey platforms for allegedly nefarious purposes. Drake actually appeared on the Monkey app with the Dice.
Getting underage people to take their shirts off and stuff like that. And Drake was
related to this.
Yeah, I forgot about it. People not talking about that, and I remember that. And I remember that being a talking point, and it was a talking point for a little bit, and then it just went away. it just went away. But I remember that Drake was subscribed to a Twitch streamer that was lying to people and manipulating people into taking their clothes off on stream. Also, some of them underage. And she would say, "No, I'm not streaming. No, I'm not live. It's just me and you." And the whole time she's showing the world these people exposing themselves. And she got called out for it, and she just happened to be connected to Drake, and apparently Drake bought her equipment to start streaming and all the stuff like that.
Especially since Kendrick Lamar famously wore a monkey shirt in the Not Like Us video, which came out on July 4th. We covered it all in the Drake and the Weird Streamer episode of TCM News. Check it out if you show. And while live, reported that Drake told him that he would know Snow and that he was told to support her by Kxng because she signed to the platform. Kxng is by gaming company Stake.com, who Drake has a partnership with. Now, keep in mind, Drake appeared on Snow's Monkey stream, and Monkey is a separate company and platform from Kxng, but at least after weeks of speculation, there was finally an explanation for the association. Now, on the day Drake drops this 3-pack, No Face, SOD, and Circadian Rhythm, Ebony Prince shows up again and releases this cryptic post of Drake taking a picture at Popular Jewelry in New York City wearing blue Canadian baseball jersey. In the same post is another picture of Drake walking from the Mark Hotel to his car wearing the same blue Canadian baseball jersey. Then a third image of Drake on Snow's Dicey Monkey stream wearing, you guessed it, that same blue Canadian baseball jersey. EP's post is tagged, "How many stocks do I really have in stock?" which is another quote from Not Like Us. Kendrick's global smash hit with a history lesson loaded with allegations against the Canadian pop star. At least one of the points of EP's Twitter post is to allude that Drake's eyebrow-raising appearance on Snow's Dicey Monkey app account took place in the Mark Hotel. So these two once unrelated side quests, the first with Christopher Alvarez at the Mark Hotel and the second with Kick streamer XO Snow on the Monkey app, have seemingly converged into one, feeding more fodder to Drake detractors, especially since Kendrick says, "The rabbit hole is deep, I can go further, I promise, all Not Like Us," and again, wears a monkey on his t-shirt while hot scalping in the video during the A minor Drake release comes a new round of distractions and music through his Insta account as opposed to working a record or executing on a marketing strategy is the best way to drown out the noise. I mean, since the Heart Part 6, Drake has released or been featured on 12 tracks that have largely failed to make a mark commercially, which is the statistic that Drake and Drake fans lean on most heavily. In aggregate, it's an album collection of spotty
even before
listens with marginal chart success that adds up to an underwhelming Drake project. Let's break it down. On You My Everything with Sexy Red, he attempts to reclaim the BBL Jersey beat as we discussed. Wagwan Delilah with Snow Days, a meme song by a Toronto meme comedian that harkens back to Kendrick's piercing lyric, "The little means is losing steam, they figured you out." Ugly and Hot Uptown with Camila Cabezas were supposed to be released in the spring, but were delayed reportedly because of his battle with Kendrick Lamar. Healing and Sideways are two Drake tracks on Gordo's project, and were most notable because Mustard, who produced Not Like Us, said Drake forced Gordo to drop on the same day as his Faith of a Mustard Seed project. DJ Mustard is in
the Malcolm X and white people.
Gordo. Blue Green Red is a response to Kendrick's Meet the Grams. Then Drake ran to Atlanta with
so much that happened in this past year, and like as they pop up, I'm just like, I remember that. What happened to that? Oh, I remember that. What happened to that? Like, it's a lot of shit that just happened that be like, this is a break into figuring some shit out, and then it just dies off. Jesus.
Housekeeping knows.
Like, I really forgot about the monkey stream chick that was doing that weird shit with the little kids, and that Drake was one of her biggest supporters and donated buku money to her, and apparently he was the one that bought her equipment and all stuff like that. Like, shit crazy.
Features Lotto and SOD, which was originally Yachty's Super Soak. Circadian Rhythm attempts to snatch the phrase from Kendrick's 616 in LA, and all I hear is Kendrick saying, "You can't sleep, these images trouble you." And then there's No Face, his most direct reference to the Shakespearean shakedown Kendrick dropped on his 100 gig head top. The point is this: all of this is unfortunate because No Face seems to be the track that's garnered the strongest reaction out of this oddball collection of tepid one-time listens. And that made a comment I saw over on BX Box Day, my favorite forum, worth pondering. Imagine this. The date is May 5th, 2024. The world is exhausted after a whirlwind weekend where Drake dropped Family Matters, only for Kendrick to stop out his light 20 minutes later with Meet the Grams, then a Hulkian knockout blow 12 hours after that with Not Like Us. Drake has just waved the white flag with the Heart Part 6, which, as Top 5 Troy aptly described, is the rap beef equivalent of submission. The culture takes a breath to reflect on the history we all just witnessed in real time. But in the aftermath, Drake does something unexpected and decides to take that much ballyhoo been threatening since 2023. There's no Wild, there's no Lil Yachty trips to Atlanta when he needs a check balance. No 100 drops or Toronto.
I think when you try and stick around, because I understand the mindset of, oh, they're going to forget about it. Just keep working, keep pushing, make some more hits, and it's going to be all over with. But I feel like the more you make, when you're in a situation like that, that's so like devastating to your character, and you're not taking the time to learn the mistakes you made and grow from the mistakes you made, you're going to make the same mistakes over and over again. And I think that's what Drake messed up, is instead of after the beef, all right, I'm going to take a little break, take a vacation for the rest of the year, come back 2025, and we can start it over. I think if Drake would have took the rest of 2024 off and came back 2025, things would have been a lot different. But the fact that you stayed, you kept trying to put music out while people was a little sour on you, and then you put the lawsuit, made people more sour on you, and then you did send a cease and desist, and you're trying to get the NFL going, and you're doing this, and you're doing just all these things, and every time people try and move on, you keep popping up doing other shit. You keep popping up. At the certain point, like I keep saying, that's the running theme through this whole thing. Sometimes you do more damage to yourself. You understand what I'm saying? If he would have just chilled out for the summer, because that was the thing too, is his fans and podcasters kept on saying, well, all he needs is a hit and everything will be all right. All he needs is a hit and everything is all right. He shouldn't let it get to him. Everything's gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? You gotta assume on ball. You gotta do this. Stop taking advice from people that are not in the shoes of you. You understand what I'm saying? If people who have not been in a rap battle, have not had the whirlwind come at them, the whole world turn on them, you're not going through that. You understand what I'm saying? So for you to tell the person, yeah, I know things got bad, but keep doing the thing that you was doing that made things bad in the first place, and everything's gonna be all right. You keep doing it, and things just keep looking bad and bad for you. You got Nokia going. You got that Give Me a Hug going, but it's not going as much as the Nokia. You got that going, but think about how long. Imagine if you didn't drop Circadian Rhythm, SOD, the Irish Freestyle, all these songs. You drop about 20 songs before you got to Nokia. And Nokia's on a project. You dropped about 20 songs. You did buku features and all that before you got to Nokia. Imagine if those 20 songs didn't exist and you just popped out with Nokia. Imagine. You just popped out with the Party Next Door project. Nothing in between happened. You go from Heart Part 6, you take a vacation, you come back with the Party album and Nokia. I'm telling you, things would have been a lot better for you. But the fact that you went from that, you go to BBL Jersey, and to this one, and to that one, and this one, and that one, and this one, and that one, this one, and that one, until you finally get one, it's just, what's the word? When people were saying, oh, it's not over for Drake, you make it look more over than it actually is for you. Because usually when you're thinking about, when most people think about Drake, even though it's, once again, living in extremes, in almost anything that Drake would drop, every time he drop a project, you're going to hear about 4 or 5 songs off that project on the radios all the time. It's going to be a hit. You expect him to drop a single and it's going to go. Drop EP and it's going to go. Or at least one of the songs is going to go. You know what I'm saying? You expect that from a Drake. But when you put yourself in a situation like you did, and you give song after song after song after song after song after song after song, and nothing's really sticking like that, that helps the narrative of it may be over. You know what I'm saying? Some people, you know, holding on for their life or whatever like that. But like I said, it'll never be over. Your fans are going to be your fans. But maybe your fan base, and I've talked about this so long ago, that's why like people will be on their bullshit. But when I be saying shit, I be saying shit because I be knowing shit. You understand what I'm saying? I said this years ago. A lot of artists' fan bases aren't as strong as they think they are, and when you do certain things, there's a difference between casual fans and actual fans. Some artists have a lot of casual fans, not a lot of actual fans. So as soon as you're not hot on the billboards, as soon as you don't have a hit record, as soon as you say the wrong or do the wrong thing, those casual fans will go and those actual fans will stay. But if those casual fans grossly outweigh the actual fans, you're going to feel it. You're going to be on platforms screaming, I'm getting blackballed, I'm being sabotaged, I'm being this and that, because the casual fans left. You saw that with DaBaby. You saw that a little bit with YoungBoy. You understand what I'm saying? Not that YoungBoy was doing too bad, but you saw that with DaBaby after his situation. All the casual fans left. You know what I'm saying? You saw that with Roddy Ricch. He had one of the biggest songs of, what year was that? 2021, 2020, 2019, I think The Box came out, actually. But you saw that with The Box. The Box was one of the biggest songs that year. And then, so like, it ain't over for him. He still got actual fans. Drake's actual fan base may still be bigger than most people's actual fan base. You understand what I'm saying? Is bigger than most people's actual fan base. But those casual fans, that's the ones that's like, I'm good on him. I don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? And you just gotta do like J. Cole did. J. Cole decided, I'm gonna focus on my actual fans. The casuals could go. But if you keep trying to force the casuals to stay, you may get them, but it's gonna take you about 20, 30 tries to get them. Because they're not going to forget the shit you did because you won't go away. You know what I'm saying? You keep trying to be in their face to get them to like you. Look, I'm a good person. Don't believe the things they say. It's lies. Come on, man. It's me. Remember? That's what the 100 gigs was. Remember what we used to like. Don't believe what he's saying. He's lying. I'm good. I'm a good guy. You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
Because you're still trying to kid the casual fans because maybe you know that your casual fan base was a lot bigger than your actual fan base. Which is why you will go to Australia for a little bit and not finish the tour because of schedule conflicts, even though the tour was playing months in I don't know.
Stupid. And people start to wonder. Then on August 23rd, just before the kickoff to college football season, Aubrey returns ferociously with no face, unbound, and refreshed, reminding the rap world that attempts to knock him off are futile because, fuck it, the boy is staying on. And like Manboy suggests in this post on BX, imagine instead of No Face, the song was called 837 in Houston. What would that timeline look like? How would the culture react? Would people be so excited for Drizzy's return that they forget the nuances of Kendrick Lamar's Shakespearean Shakedown, this greatest rap battle in rap history? I don't have the answer to these questions.
Right. Sometimes the smallest decisions, the certain decisions could change the course of everything. It's the butterfly effect. Maybe if after Hard Part 6 he just stopped until maybe No Face or something like that. I don't want to say Irish freestyle because that's, I don't know. I think after Hard Part 6 you go and you come back for Nokia. You come back for the party thing, and that's your return. Drake returns and he's collabing with a Party Next Door on his project, and you get Nokia. You get Give Me Your Hug. You get that song with Yebba and all stuff like that. That would have been the best outcome for him. But the fact that you was just kept poking the bear and kept on coming and kept Irish freestyle and SOD and this song and that song and that song, and it wasn't hitting, it wasn't sticking. It just makes things look a lot worse. You know what I'm saying? I think that'd have been a crazy comeback if he came back. If he was going after Hard Part 6 and came back with a Nokia. Not saying I like Nokia's song. I don't really listen to it like that. But just saying how big the song is, how successful the song is. If he would have came back with that, you don't get the lawsuit. You don't get the yes, Drake gave us money to get people to start posting more content around this song to make it bigger or whatever like that. And the person that gets the most views, they get $1,000 or whatever. The thing is that people aren't talking about because they don't want it to be exposed that Drake is using other means other than his own organic popularity to get a song to go. You understand what I'm saying? And now they're trying to paint this idea that, because Drake got the song to go organically, now the label's going to push it. But that's not what's happening. It's a whole marketing and it's a whole campaign going on to make the song be a lot bigger and so it could compete with the songs that Kendrick's got. That's what's going on. But I digress. I think this is the last one, and then I'm gonna hop on Twitch. We're gonna do some Sims. I might play some 2K2. I might do an hour of Sims and an hour of career. I want to do my universe. I might just do universe.
It looks like it was recorded post Mr. Morale.
Let me run to the bathroom real quick. Boom.
funny until I say it. I'm like, that's been the nigga Kendrick the whole time. Stay underground. Even with this album, it's like, okay, this album could have been chart topic success on the commercial level. You stay underground.
Our theory is really, how do we stay underground regardless of success? Stay underground. Now, Kendrick made mention of that during his Grammy acceptance speech for Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, but in retrospect, it really is clear as day if you consider his releases. Let's break it down. Good Kid, Mad City is a smash, but also a grounded coming-of-age concept record about family, gang culture, and violence. To Pimp a Butterfly eschews mass appeal and focuses on challenges unique to the Black diaspora, leading into jazz and soul and funk in a decidedly unjazz, unfunk, unsoul era. It's a masterpiece by all accounts, but 180 degrees from mainstream hip-hop soundscapes, noted by its lack of chart-topping singles. My favorite Kendrick project, Damn, hit the charts like a comet in contrast, tackling while sending Humble and DNA, 2 track songs all about being better people, mind you, to Billboard #1s. And when expectations were highest, Dot went inward on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, delivering a dense, multi-layered conversation on therapy and generational trauma. It's a beautiful record, even if it is lacking in the hit singles emblazoned across his previous release. Whether sonically more palatable for mass consumption or otherwise, contextually, every release tackles weighty themes typically stiff-armed by, as FD Signifier describes, the commodified culture industry. Here's Day Free.
It's like a roller coaster. I feel it's like you can keep on this pace forever, and eventually you make like I always when I listen to Kendrick is that like you give people like just some type of variation. You know what I'm saying? And you get used to the Kendrick.
And that's how you go from Mr. Morale to G and X.
For a long period of time. That's really good. Medicine to the shit. Like we all human. Like sooner or later gonna kick in eventually. Try to dictate our movement. And we look at that like, okay, what race have we ran too much? Now how do we focus on this spot that we probably
It's like the roller coaster effect. We look at that like, what race have we ran too much? How do we focus on the spot that we probably need to put more energy into? I mean, roller coaster effect is an apt description of the 4 diss tracks Kendrick tossed at Aubrey Drake Graham during his Shakespearean shakedown. It's like the same strategy at the core of Kendrick's classic catalog was condensed into 4 different, completely different listening experiences and approaches to dismembering the 6 Gods character and status. There's Euphoria's bar-heavy 6-minute assassination. There's 616 in LA with the Al Green Soul angelic peaks that grams. DJ Mustard Certified Party Up anthem. I mean, that entire week will be remembered forever. Dropping back-to-back diss tracks twice, scathing world building complete with Shakespearean levels of justice and revenge and corruption and mortality and character dissection, compelling even if Drake isn't a real person, might I add. From RDC World to Screwface Yarn, internet reactors ain't good. Think about this. Dot really did what COVID did. Hip-hop will literally never get over it. The rap battles really end after the end of the main event. Jay and Nas kept the subs flowing in the years following, for example. Drake dropped an album's worth of leaks on his Plot Twist account. Just about all of them littered with subliminals. Public figures of all times made comments and answered questions about this Shakespearean shakedown. Everyone seemingly had something to say except for Kendrick. Jeremy Heck calls it the greatest 5 tweets in Twitter history. 3 diss tracks, a Super Bowl announcement, an album, and now a stadium tour featuring SZA. Outside of those, the 2 tracks tossed on IG, 616 in LA and Watch the Party Die, the Not Like Us and Squabble Up videos on YouTube, and the Harper's Bazaar interview with SZA. Away from those, we hadn't heard anything from the now undisputed King Kendrick Lamar. I mean, even though he rarely engages online, there's a consistent theme coming out of Kendrick's camp that Dot sees off. And in that context, GNX truly is the ultimate post-battle response album, and its scope is widened significantly. It's as if so many people said so many things that Dot has so much to get off his chest. It's like he says on Whacked Out Murals, it used to be that nigga, now it's plural. For example, on TV Off when Dot raps, "You feel entitled because he knew me since a kid. Bitch, I cut my granny off and she don't see it how I see it. Got a big mouth, but he lacked big ideas. Send him to the moon, that's just how I feel." Is he talking about Game? I don't know. But Game spent his summer caping for Drake. That's what I do know.
My kids want concerts, tickets, nigga, they in that.
Or these are Squabble Ups 50 deep, but it ain't deep enough. And Dodger Blues, so fly in this bitch. 50 on me, don't die trying this. Are those bars aimed at 50? I don't know. But 50 did spend his summer doing his best to rehabilitate Drake's reputation. Dot did flip J. Cole's I Let Nas Down into I think my hard work let Lil Wayne down. Whatever though. Is the implication that unlike Cole, he's willing to stand on his square? I don't know. But I know Cole apologized at Dreamville Fest. That's what I do know.
And I was conflicted.
Was don't let no white comedian talk about no black woman. That's law aimed exclusively at Andrew Schultz? Absolutely not. No. But I know that Schultz looked like a thirsty interloper begging to be dissed by K-Dot. That's what I do know.
Bruh.
Questlove, Ice-T, and Isaac Hayes Jr. all had criticism for K-Dot mid-battle. And as Chillwood Moni pointed out, all three were subtly alluded to in the Sparkle Up video. They said he don't put on artists from his section. GNX blessed 8 new artists from various sets around his section with global attention. They say he takes too long to drop. GNX was crafted in a season, and considering it's only 12 tracks, GNX is remarkably diverse in its efficiency. It's like every type of rap fan got 2 tracks from their favorite sectors within the genre. Let's break it down. The soulful Hard Part 6 and Glorious sonically feel spiritually connected. The same for Peekaboo and GNX, which both flex quintessential West Coast bounce. Squabble Up and TD offer ready-made party anthems. Luther and Dodger Blue pull the R&B heartstrings. Man in the Garden and Reincarnated are salutes to hip-hop icons Nas and Tupac over classic samples in their catalog. Whacked Out Murals and Hey Now spill aggression with barrels full of subliminal shots.
That's in my body.
They said Doc can't make hit songs. He added 3 #1 records to his resume in 2024, and GNX is the first rap album in history to have its entire track list stay within the Hot 100. Outreach to Southern California's Mexican community. Mariachi Barrera opens the album and is interspersed intentionally in significant spots of importance. Apparently, Dot appreciated her performance during the World Series so much he put her on the album, which gives credence to how quickly this project was made. Her appearance feels like the minimalistic versions of the Dead Kid Capri pop-ups on Damn, or the phone calls on Good Kid, Mad City, or the poem on To Pimp a Butterfly, or the tap dancers and Eckhart Tolle on Big Steppers. Then Peso and Lefty Gunplay, 2 highly viral Mexican rappers, make memorable appearances. I mean, of course, crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious. It's turned into a meme on its own. Ironically, it might be the most viral 4 words since YOLO. But also Peso, every time he says, I broke a heart and you had to go a PX. I'm not laughing. The Mexican presence on GNX makes the whole project feel like a love letter to Los Angeles. Now, this is not confirmed, but I believe that's partly in response to criticisms that came from Mexican podcaster Icon following the pop out. Icon posited that Kendrick Lamar's Juneteenth show didn't have enough Mexican presence. To put it in context, just a year before, and again this week, Fat Joe struck the wrong chord with Black Americans, the community that actually created hip-hop itself, when he said that Puerto Ricans were 50-50 in the creation story. And during Hip-Hop 50, no less, Joe's been trending in the wrong direction ever since, and now is the picture of what a walking terrible take looks like. But that entire conversation inspired Tariq Nasheed to create the Hip-Hop's Hidden History documentary, chronicling the origins of the creators of the culture. And that documentary ignited a tidal wave of debate with graffiti artists, breakers, Crazy Legs, KRS-One, Lord Jamar, and pioneers from each element. Now, I had Tariq Nasheed on this channel to talk about all of this. Check it out if you missed it. But this was a big deal. And I think Kendrick heard that conversation too. And I think that for a few reasons. One, Not Like Us is a unifying anthem that can be applied in all sorts of ways and became a slogan for that specific conversation. 2, on Man at the Garden, he says, how annoying does it anger me to know these lames can speak on the origins of the game. That statement is open enough to be applied to all sides of the divide, but and then 3, the day after 200 million people popped out on Juneteenth, when Icon said there weren't enough Mexicans on Juneteenth, Black People Day, the backlash was massive and impactful. They keep saying Kendrick sees everything, and I think he saw that too. Culture was a primary theme in his attack against Drake, and West Coast culture largely unified in support of the Compton Kid. Simultaneously, it's impossible to truly unite Los Angeles without including LA's largest community. And the inclusion of Lefty Gunplay and Peso and mariachi singer Dayra Barrera is a strong rebuttal to Icon going viral for saying Mexicans are underrepresented.
I didn't mean to offend anybody when I said that, and it's unfortunate if I did. The point I was trying to make was that there was a lot of headlines that Kendrick united all of the LA gangs, and he couldn't have done that had there not been any Mexican gangs on stage as well.
I mean, that was just one of the many unexpected side missions this battle and the tactical nature of Kendrick Lamar's Shakespearean shakedown brought to the zeitgeist. There was the whole Ebony Prince Riddler-esque side mission. EP was in possession of all the items Dot used for the cover art on 616 in LA and Meet the Grams, and online investigators kicked into action trying to figure out if something happened at the Mark Hotel with Drake and Christopher Alvarez, the disabled journalist from the Brooklyn Eagle. There was Drake's weird appearance on Dicey Kick streamer XO Snow's monkey account. Drake explains his presence on stream by saying Kick told him to support her since Kick is run by gambling site Stake, who Drake has a partnership with. Now with GNX, during one of their frequent captivating... Are you a partner or do you work for them? That's the question we gotta start asking, because it's like, oh, they made me do this. They made... Stake wants me to do it. Are you a partner or do you work for them? To Drake and the
Why do you keep doing shit? Because the people you're partnered with makes you do it.
Consistency of these well-placed Easter eggs in everything Kendrick dropped this year has
we be using partner just to as another word for I work for them. It's like me saying I'm partnered with my job.
Like, frequent captivating live streams, Thought Crimes pieced together a list of connections between illusions K-Dot made on Peekaboo to Drake and the passing of XXXTentacion. There are several more, but the consistency of these well-placed Easter eggs in everything Kendrick dropped this year has added lore to this Shakespearean character dissection. To a population, the idea that the embassy might actually get raided is a real possibility. Dot said the rabbit hole is deep. I can go further, I promise, on Not Like Us 7 months ago. Then added everything means something in Latin on the letterboard featured in the Squabble Up video 3 weeks ago. And now the audience is heavy in detective mode. Theories and side quests have remained relentless throughout this entire Shakespearean shakedown.
Oh shit, buddy, I gotta dig a little deeper.
Now, no one likes my Machiavelli 7-day theory, but the parallels between GNX and Pac's combative classic are spilled all over the place, man. Spilling everywhere. Both are 12 tracks, both follow double discs, All Eyes on Me and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Both take place with major label upheaval in the background. Dr. Dre had left Death Row and Kendrick left TDE. Me and My Girlfriend was Pac's metaphor for his gun. Gloria is Dot's metaphor for his pen. Dodger Blue represents for the land with a similar energy to Machiavelli's To Live and Die in L.A. Machiavelli prominently featured its collective The Outlaws. Kendrick prominently features a number of up-and-comers from various sets across L.A. Lefty Gunplay, Peso, Dodie 6, AZ Chike, Hidden J3, Wally the Sensei, Siete 7 Times, and Young Threat fill a sort of Outlaws-type role on GNX. Reincarnated is the Tupac track on GNX that samples Make Niggas, which was released in 1996, the same year as Machiavelli. Both are lathered in aggression and birth while both men were embroiled in beef. Pac called out all names on Against All Odds. Kendrick drops almost all subs that fit shade and comments people have said in reaction to his Shakespearean shakedown. I mean, Dot even name drops Against All Odds on whacked out murals. Twice, he says, Against All Odds, I squabbled up for the dividends. Against All Odds, I showed up at... 1 second applause. Shut out like a green hat with Bill, sure, but there are differences, of course. 1996 Pac was 25 years old. 2024 Kendrick is 37. He's had the benefit of time and study to not fall into the same traps. For example, The Heart Part 6 not only feels like a thoughtful, sincere ode to the conclusion of Kendrick Lamar on TDE, but it also feels like a lesson learned. He raps, to all my youngins, let me be the demonstration. How to conduct differences with a healthy conversation. If that's your family, then handle it when you have a heart to heart. Now, that verse hit me personally, since in my one interview with Kendrick Lamar, we actually talked about his relationship with TDE. It was in 2011, following the Brooklyn Hip Hop Festival. He, Q, and the team were leaving the venue, and I interrupted them guerrilla journalism style. That's what I was on. Here's what he said exactly. Team, that's what hurts maturity of other artists. When they don't have a good set of people around them they can actually trust. A lot of people go into this business with just themselves and just the talent. At the end of the day, you need loyal people around you that believe in you from the jump that can get you to the next level. That's what Top Dog Entertainment did for me, man. They brought me in the game when I was 17 in the studio just rhyming. They were fans of me and said, you know what? We believe in you and we're going to tell you our honest opinion. And I did. I lived with it. I got hurt a few times in the studio sessions, man, but it all made me a better person, a better artist at the end of the day. I got hurt a few times, but it all made me a better person, a better artist at the end of the day. Now, that conversation is part of the reason why I connect so directly to the heart. But really necessary message. Don't let socials gas you up. Work it out with your family. Preserve the history before it's remixed, lost, or stolen. 7 months after the Shakespearean shakedown, and we're seeing all kinds of fans and media members attempt to remix the history of this battle, championing family matters as if the score isn't fully settled. Success. No, it didn't. My timeline all week. Y'all finally waking up and realizing Drake won that rap beef. Joe Budden said it's aging well. What? Charlamagne said
Family Matters is probably the best record, Not Like Us is the best song.
Wait.
Call it modern media's addiction to false equivalencies. Call it the product of a superfan-focused marketplace. Call it a bunch of talking heads hoping to position themselves for a Drake interview in 2025. Whatever you call it, the Family Matters remix, the Family Matters propaganda is in full effect.
You serious?
Salute to Mr. Busby on Twitter. He posted this week. Family Matters was the better overall record. Is the new Takeover was the better overall record.
Right.
He's absolutely correct.
And it's not. I don't think Family Matters is a better song than Not Like Us. Song? No.
There was a lot of coke coming from Team Hov. Here's Jay-Z straight off a string of platinum albums and Billboard chart toppers and explosive radio tracks, bending the culture to his will by dropping annually. If you didn't like Hov, there was nothing you could do about it because Hov stayed in your face. Every year, he delivered chart-topping heat,
like
groundbreaking feat at that time, and much more frequently than Nas. Hov was the consummate winner and seemed almost snotty in his success, sitting on top of the world while rapping at an elite level. This was the shiny suit era, and no one was as luxurious lyrically and literally as Jay-Z. Nas added luxury to his conversations over the course of the decade, but always included imagining somehow both commercial and underground simultaneously, and though his numbers were rapidly declining, he undoubtedly remained the undisputed people's champ. Now, Nas and Hov have been subbing each other for years before their Cold War went hot, and when those last two surviving members of that mid-90s Big Four finally collided, when they finally went head-to-head, it took place over two primary tracks, Takeover and Ether. Now, to me, at that time, Ether was mainly a mama jokes. It was hard, no doubt, brutal even. It definitely struck an emotional chord, and to me at that time, I thought a large part of that had to do with Nas saying the thing that most people really just wanted to hear Nas say. Although I had a much deeper appreciation for Nas then, and I still do now, truthfully, to be honest, even though I had a much deeper appreciation for Nas, I felt like he lost. I thought Nas lost because the blueprint was incredible and Takeover felt like all facts in comparison for me. As soon as Jay-Z said that's one hot album every 10-year average, when he's doing math in a rap battle, counting his releases, talking about one hot album every 10-year average, that's all I needed to see. That's all I needed to hear because I personally felt like every time I bought a new Nas record, it was worse than the previous. And then ending his verse on Takeover with a riddle only Nas would understand, diabolical. Yeah, keep that between me. But in the immediate aftermath of Ether ruthlessly swaying the culture back to Nas' side, Hov got too cocky and went on Hot 97 and delivered an on-air response, Super Ugly. Now, this is where the battle was lost, because on Super Ugly, Hov answered the riddle he left at the end of Takeover. He revealed that he, and inexplicably Allen Iverson, for some reason they felt like it's a good idea to snitch on AI, he had actually smacked bellies way too much for that era. In the shadow of the deaths of Biggie and Tupac, and that's you fat motherfucker, no one wanted to hear a battle turn Super Ugly in that fashion. So Hov overdid it. Kind of like he said on Takeover, don't make me do it to you, Dunny, because I overdo it. But he overdid it, and the backlash was so massive that he went on air back in Hot 97 and did the unthinkable then, but truthfully something J. Cole can actually relate to. He apologized.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Here's what he said. Mom put in a call and said that went too far, and she's never, ever called me about music. So I was like, okay, I'll go. Or a girlfriend's feelings, or even my mom. It was really like, let me meet your level of disrespect with this level of disrespect. Probably most telling, since this is the first major rap battle to have a significant level of internet virality. I mean, I was in Europe, studying abroad in Amsterdam when all this was going down, and we were watching everything online. This is one of the first times you can really say that in a rap battle. Hov said this. This is another thing Hov actually said. Freestyles usually go away in 2 weeks. I didn't know it was going to be the official Battle of the Beat 7-hour marathon. It was an answer to the disrespect. I didn't go into the studio to make a song. I made a 2-minute freestyle. The parallel, though, is that Jay-Z's misstep made Ether feel like foreshadowing in a number of ways. Nas closed with, you popped and apologized. Well, that's exactly what Hov did. He popped at Nas and apologized on Hot 97. Nas said Hov was only concerned with dissing women on Ether. Hov went out and dissed Nas' baby mother on Super Ugly. I mean, you really had to be there to understand how unprecedented it was to hear Jay-Z, snotty, sitting on top of the world, Jay-Z, apologize on Hot 97 for a diss freestyle. So that apology in conjunction with Super Ugly, battle was over. No matter how compelling, no argument could sway the masses. Well, Takeover's a verse, Ether's a whole song. You know, that's got to mean something. No, Takeover was all facts, though. It was all facts. It's like, we really broke them down. Nope, too late. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. Well, if he hadn't dropped Super Ugly, this is a completely different battle. Guess what I know? Takeover song, though. Didn't matter. So when Mr. Busby posted, Family Matters was the better overall record, is the new Takeover was the better overall record, he was absolutely correct. And for the first time, I can commiserate with something directly that Drake fans seem to be experiencing. It was time for me to let it go, and it's time for y'all to let it go. You're goddamn right. Drake too slided into similar territory by calling Kendrick's partner Whitney a whore, who secretly birthed his best friend Dave Free's child while also claiming she was abused by Kendrick. Disgusting work for sure, but Drake also had the rapping like you're trying to get the slaves free line. He also
doesn't age well. A man of sexual abuse, a woman of cheating on her but that's not sexual abuse, domestic violence. But that's the thing that goes into what matters. That's what I keep saying. What's important to people and what's really not that important to people. What people want to think about and what people don't want to think about. The scale. It's a song where you're writing about. First of all, you have homophobic bars in there, transphobic bars in there. You to talk about him beating on his wife. You talk about a lot of things that are usually no-nos in most parts. But for somehow so many people say, oh no, it's a vibe. Oh no, the song aged well. Oh, it's a better song. It's a better record than Not Like Us. It deserves Not Like Us success. No, it don't. I don't think most people will want to hear that. You can say, oh, nobody wants to hear about the pedophile, but it's the packaging. It's the packaging. There's the history lesson in there. The music, the instrumentation, whatever like that. This is a 7-minute Drake ramble session where he's just pulling straws at whatever he can pull his hands on. Like, you're talking about a song with transphobia, homophobia, misogyny, and that's the song people are like, well, man, this song should have been way bigger. Oh, man, this song aged perfectly fine. Did it really? I don't think so. I think it actually aged pretty bad.
It gets played in the spots that have a little more pride. And where's your uncle at? Because I want to talk to the men of the house, both attacking the LGBTQ communities.
That's what I'm saying.
Think about this. Black people, women, gay people, trans people were all made the brunt of Drizzy's misguided fury.
And y'all think that's aging well. I don't think people understand the lyrics of these songs. That if you are saying that Family Matters still goes and it aged well, it's aging like fine wine, I don't think you understand what Drake was doing in the song.
And in the streaming era, giving various vocal marginalized communities a reason to be distracted at best or outright offended at worst is arguably Drake's biggest misstep of all. Anyone outside of arguably manosphere content consumers could see the iceberg looming in the distance. What do you mean by that? Media Matters describes the manosphere as an online community of right-wing websites, bloggers, and influencers called that interest young men in boxing before diving into extremist content and misogyny, creating a dangerous pipeline. Right. Organizations like Stake and Kick and Happy Dad lean heavily into the manosphere. Happy Dad, for example, is run by the Nelk Boys, who received a shout out during Trump's victory party for all the work they did to spread his message to their audiences. And now they're doing it with hip hop. That's the energy that's at the core of language, coloring Doechii as Harriet Tubman rap, or shows the suggestion that he could break Kendrick, or Tom McDonald's music, or Hell's Angels making terrible diss tracks at Rick Ross, or tweets like these.
What to say?
Or shows the suggestion that he could break Kendrick, or Tom McDonald's music, or Hell's Angels.
Drake held it down for 15 summers and y'all turned on him for a guy that make protest music. 15 summers? Summers? 3 months? 3 months, 15 times? That y'all attached to 15 summers. Protest music. Slave trade music, Harriet Tubman music, protest music, Negro spiritual music, plantation tunes. It's starting to get to a point. Protest music.
Was making terrible diss tracks at Rick Ross, or tweets like these describing
liberal rap friends get the.
Or Kendrick letting 3 white liberals talking.
3 white liberals talking about those is insane hypocritical work. Who? It's really, and that's what I've been noticing is the Curtis King calls it the OVO MAGA side of the fan base. The shit that people are saying, they don't realize not only how anti-black, racist, bigoted, right-wing, manosphere, all these things they're saying is insane. Protest music. Where do you hear protests in Whacked Out Mirrors? Where do you hear protests in Not Like Us? Where do you hear protests in All Right? Like, people get so stuck on To Pimp a Butterfly and act like Kendrick's entire catalog is just like To Pimp a Butterfly. I don't know why people do that. Like I said, going to extremes at all times. Protest music, calling Doechii Harriet Tubman music. She doesn't make conscious, quote unquote, conscious rap, social justice rap. Doechii does not rap about that type of stuff.
About culture is insane hypocritical work, which is crazy. So that's what comes to mind when I hear Kendrick rap. I know propaganda works for them. Whoever that's close to them, that coon that's being groomed, slide on both of them.
Don't trust them niggas over there.
But if I'm a Drake fan, I probably don't care about any of that. Him just merely stating Kendrick just opened his mouth, someone go hand him a Grammy right now, is probably a
lyric that they're talking about. But living in they take that one lyric and be like, oh, well, this whole song aged perfectly because, yes, Kendrick got the Grammy for the song. forgetting all the homophobia, transphobia, anti-blackness, and misogyny that exists throughout the song. They ignore all of that because that's not that important to them. Because his fan base consists of a lot of people like that don't care about that. The manosphere, like I said earlier, at one point he appealed to the women, and then he appealed to the men that believe that their value is in the women that they get. When you appeal to that audience, they don't care about all that other shit. Just give us the slaps. Just make me feel good as a man. 15 summers, and y'all let him lose to a guy that
collecting all the prestigious awards with
a black man having something to say is a protest. Think about that. Having a little content, being a little bit deeper in thought, being a little bit more intellectual, a little bit more progressive, all of a sudden it's protest music.
half the work product. Just like one hot album every 10-year average was the clincher for me because I still regretted paying $20 for Nostradamus. If I'm a Drake fan, I'm probably blindsided by all this. I'm probably too seduced by songs like Is There More to ever consider the fallacy of Drizzy the Invincible. Is There More is the last song on the good half of Drake's last great release, Scorpion. Over cold, quintessential OVO production, Aubrey opines on the then untouchable nature of his career. I mean, the song's aged terribly, by the way. Not only does he contradict himself almost immediately, rhyming, only line I do is lying out in the tropics in the opening stanza, and then completely reneges 14 bars later saying, I only tell lies to who I gotta protect. Professor Sky.
This is the cognitive dissonance of a gaslight.
But it feels like some of the most improbable foreshadowing that I can remember in hip hop. He starts the verse with sweeter the berry, the blacker the juice, which is a flip on to paper butterflies, blacker the berry. Too many Walt Disney characters, mouses and goose, which always felt like a shot at Kanye and Kendrick. Kanye's always comparing himself to Walt Disney, and Kendrick's short, and Drake likes to pick on him about his height, so mouses. Then he says this, I'll let you bring 1,000 recruits. My peers are a talented group. But even if you take all these statistics and carry the two, even if you rounded up the numbers and rounded the troops, there's still nothing they could really do, which is crazy considering we actually saw that pie in the sky scenario play out in this year of truth. Future,
right?
Lumen, The Weeknd, Rick, and We Still Don't Trust You combined to make a double album's worth of declarative statements alluding to the diciness of Drizzy Drake while enlisting The Weeknd, A$AP Rocky, and Kendrick Lamar to assist in a reputational assassination. Ross's champagne moments and relentless IG trolling coined the phrase BBL Drizzy, which has become an AI smash hit once Metro put his drums to it. In a prescient interview on the download with Justin LeBoy, Ye ushered Drake and Lucien Grange's relationship into the conversation, accusing the two of juicing the boys' numbers, stated everyone was elated at the elimination of Drake, and delivered the Like That remix, Ye's first true diss track.
Drake has a rich baby daddy named Lucien and Universal.
I mean, even Childish Gambino showed up to air his grievances. Better late than never, I guess, sure. But really think about this. Drake issued perhaps the most preposterous challenge on wax 6 years ago, and we actually got to see that hypothesis play out. We actually saw that play out, and the answer is clear.
Yourself.
What happens when Future and Metro round the troops?
I'm gonna sue.
That's perhaps the most Shakespearean aspect of all of this. After years of dicey maneuvering, pillow talking, track stealing, and bridge burning, Drake still felt so invincible that he entered a battle with Kendrick Lamar with, if you believe the rumor mill, a new deal in the balance. Despite all the skeletons in his online closet, he still decided to take the numbers and rounded the troops. There's still nothing he could really do. And when things didn't work out the way he anticipated, when Not Like Us captured the planet, he inflicted more damage on his fractured reputation by filing a pre-action petition, accusing his record label UMG of fixing the numbers in Kendrick's favor. Ye accused him and Lucien of writing allegations, and now he's compounded that by raising questions as to how organic or how successful any of those songs actually were. I mean, it's like when Macbeth became king of Scotland through pillow talking and dicey maneuvering, ran to the witches when he needed reassurance, went on a murderous rampage, killing everyone associated with the opposition, including Macduff's family, and felt so invincible that he entered battle with Macduff, leading to his ultimate demise because he didn't understand the culture. I mean, the witch's prophecy.
Call me back, niggas. So, man, crazy, bro.
And that's my lasting takeaway from that conversation Kendrick and Dave were having in that opening clip. Their emphasis on staying underground and in touch with the community, the grassroots. Not only does GNX continue the roller coaster effect, Dave described when describing their strategy for crafting classics. It's a massive commercial success loaded with hit songs, bringing West Coast sounds, styles, and underground artists back to the mainstream, all seemingly 180 degrees from the Mr. Morale experience. But it also resonates loudest with those who championed him the longest. I mean, Kendrick Lamar has arguably put together the greatest individual year in hip-hop history, and he's done so not only through chart-topping music, but through unifying themes and a willingness to define, to draw a line on what should be acceptable in this thing of ours. He's taken the scenic route to the mountaintop, and he's done so while exemplifying what he meant when he said, there are other ways to be bigger, standing firmly on his square while delivering subliminals to artists and forces of all types. And yet the propaganda war has already commenced. People are tempted to remix not only this battle, but hip-hop as a whole, and undoubtedly a slew of artists are already plotting on the crowd. People don't like it when people win too much, and Dot is the newest face of victory. He's the newest face of victory while offering, I believe, a much-needed shift in consciousness. With the Grammys and the Super Bowl and the stadium tour already on the horizon in 2025, how massive will the inevitable blowback be to King Kendrick Lamar? How coordinated? How will he handle it? I don't have the answer to these questions.
Crazy, crazy. We're gonna wrap it up here. That's it. That's it. Very interesting. There's a few things that I forgot about. I'm just like, oh shit, that was a thing. Oh shit, he did say that. Oh shit. Like, it's insane. It's insane. That whole time period, that week, like I said, it was only a month of hip hop time, but it's so crazy. And how everything just spilled out, and how, once again, you do it to yourself. How much damage he did to his own reputation by not just shutting the fuck up. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's still, but and make things seem it was like saying that Family Matters deserve the success and not like us. That means you not only not understand what Drake was saying or doing in the song, but you also don't understand what Not Like Us is doing. Family Matters is not going to unite different communities of people. Isn't going to cause a new phrase to go around of people doing things. It's not going to have certain references and stuff like that. The things that Not Like Us is doing would not happen if Family Matters were put in the same. What is Kxng going to joke about? We're halftime at the Grammys. Now it's time for Drake to come out and say give Kendrick a Grammy. Like, what? No, it's not. It's not just going to happen. Like, we like to. And then calling it protest music, Harriet Tubman music, plantation music. What the fuck art is going on? And for people to not see no issue in that, not to see the issue in aligning yourself with a crowd of people that talks that way about certain artists, talk that way about certain type of music, to not see the issue with that, it's narcissist. It goes down to narcissism, to be honest with you. People with main character syndrome, especially with a big platform, are usually going to attract other people with main character syndrome, people with narcissism. That's going to be people that attract you because they can relate the most to say and do things. As long as they don't hurt me, I don't care. So I'm going to say stupid shit. I'm going to take the side of whatever makes me look the best in my own eyes because I only care about me and I'm the only person that matters. And this and this and that. That's how people really move. That's really how people think. That's really how people feel the world should work. People really feel like once I die, nothing else exists, nothing else matters. There's people, what's it called? Last Thursday syndrome, or last Thursday, whatever that thing is, where people believe that nothing existed before the Thursday before they were born. Like, there's people out here who really have that type of mindset, and people got to remember that. So when some people say stupid shit, you really got to start like thinking about, oh, maybe maybe you're an asshole because you only care about yourself and your own feelings and your own emotions, and anything else that involves anybody else doesn't matter to you because you don't think that it means anything if it doesn't come from you. And there's a lot of people that have gained an entire fan base, gained an entire audience of people that all have that type of mentality of me. You understand what I'm saying? And you get to see it by how their fan bases move, how their fan bases interact with other people, and the hills that they'll die on, based off of from just how they acted. You could just tell, like, oh, you're gone. It's over for you. You understand what I'm saying? It's insane. And the internet has only made those people exist a lot more because now you have vlogs. The whole idea of a vlog is a million people, as I say, successful. A million people are watching me just live my life. I am so cool. Look at all these people looking at me. And when you create, when that instantly just triggers something in your brain to where it's just like me. You get a Logan Paul. That's how you get a J. What's the name of them people? That family of people that kept scamming people and stuff like that. You get these people, or you get an Aiden Ross. You get even an academics. You get these people that feel like I am the most important thing in the world because I'm generating all this attention because me. Not thinking about maybe what things may happen to lead to that, and maybe the people that you're hurting to get to that type of thing, or the ideas and the rhetoric that you pushing to get to this certain thing. People, I don't care. Look at my numbers. Look at this. Look at that. That's all that matters. I'm like, no, I just don't like those type of people. I don't like those type of people. Bad energy, bad vibes. It never leads to anything good. I can't think of any time narcissism has ever led to, in the long term, has ever led to something that was because you don't care about the betterment of other people. So narcissism will never lead to the betterment of other people. You understand what I'm saying? But that's it for me. I'm about to hop on Twitch, play some Sims, play some WWE 2K for a little bit. But that's it for me. I'm out. Too sweet. Deuce.